Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome inside the Macon Centreplex for tonight's hockey game between your Macon Mayhem and the visiting Huntsville Havoc. We're so glad to have you on board with us tonight here on this early February contest. My name is Alex Von Coydel, the voice of your Macon Mayhem. Thrilled to have you with us for what promises to be a battle between a couple of pretty old rivals. The Mayhem in their 5th anniversary season. Huntsville Havoc have been very strong rivals with the Mayhem ever since then. If not by virtue of proximity, then by matters on the ice, as we've seen in recent years. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, folks. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. Whether you're a Mayhem fan or a Huntsville Havoc fan, we're so glad to have you with us. Well, in front of their largest crowd in franchise history on Saturday night, the Mayhem cruised to their largest margin of victory of the season, drubbing the Knoxville Ice Bears by a 6-2 final score. The announced attendance on that night, 56-19. It was a record-breaking evening, and make no mistake about it, folks, there was no coincidence that the Mayhem posted their best performance in terms of goal differential all season long on that night. It was an enormous triumph for the team, and with many of his players suffering from flu-like symptoms and his team on a 4-game losing skid, Ryan Michael was happy to receive any sort of second wind he could, and he and several Mayhem players noted that the atmosphere at the Macon Centreplex sincerely helped the team perform at peak capacity, and that they felt, quote, unstoppable, unquote, on the ice because of the energy generated by that crowd. Michael believes that that night inspired the confidence the Mayhem needed, and that it demonstrated what this team is capable of when taking its opponent's strengths away from them. One of those opponents tonight, the Huntsville Havoc, who got the better of the Mayhem the last time these teams met exactly 1 week ago today, and their strengths, they have plenty of them. They're in the top half of the SPHL in virtually every category, the defending champs. They often have dominated their opponents in controlling shots on goal this season. They lead the league in shots per game at 30.3. They trail only Pensacola in shots allowed per game at 27.8. And they also boast a top 3 special teams, both the power play and penalty killing units, ranking 3rd in the SPHL. And they're coming off back-to-back wins over Macon and Fayetteville last weekend. Fayetteville was a 3-2 overtime decision at Von Braun Center on Saturday night. What happened last Friday between the Mayhem and the Havoc was essentially the Mayhem trailed right from the get-go. 20 seconds into the contest, Tyler Piacentini performed an act of deja vu and scored in the first minute, just like he did back on October 19th. Only on that night, the Mayhem managed to erase their deficit. Last week, they could not. Despite hanging in the contest for the entire game and erasing part of their deficit twice, they could not overcome it and ultimately fell by a 4-2 final score, courtesy of an empty net goal tacked on at the end. So taking advantage of the momentum that the Mayhem gained last Saturday from Pack the Plex night, not just the atmosphere in that game, but the 6-2 win over Knoxville will be paramount tonight, especially when one takes a look at the schedule lying ahead for the Mayhem, a very road-heavy bottom third or so of this campaign. So taking advantage of these home points when available will be essential, as the Mayhem have been a much stronger team on home ice than they have on the road this season. As for Huntsville, oddly it's been quite the opposite. They're a bit of an anomaly in that respect. They rank second best on the road this season among all teams in the SPHL. The road record of 12-5-2. They've been very strong in games away from the Von Braun Center. On home ice, it's not as though that they've struggled by any means, but their record a lot more modest at home this season, which is curious. They're 9-6-1 at home, 12-5-2 on the road. So Glenn DiTullio and company, a very veteran squad. Not very surprising that they know what it takes to win on the road, and they have done a very good job of that this season. A new Mayhem player expected to debut this weekend will be Michael Stiliadis, the goaltender, will technically make his Mayhem debut tonight, though he is not the starting goaltender. Spoiler alert. He will be wearing the number 35. The Woodbridge, Ontario native has boasted impressive numbers in the high-scoring Federal Prospects League this season. He has played in 17 games between Watertown and Elmira, a save percentage hovering around the 925% plateau, which is pretty darn impressive considering that is a very high-scoring league and difficult for goaltenders oftentimes to post numbers like that. So the Mayhem certainly had to have him in the fold. He played in 5 games for Roanoke this season and is still looking for his first SPHL win, despite having some pretty strong performances with the Rail Yard Dogs. Stiliadis' likelihood to play throughout the weekend will probably be pretty closely tied to Hayden Stewart's status, who has felt under the weather for the past couple of weeks, but regardless, it's fair to expect Stiliadis to play at least some of the 180 minutes plus that will be in the future here for this weekend for the Mayhem. Of course, they will play tonight against Huntsville, and then tomorrow they will be in Roanoke at Berglund Center taking on the Rail Yard Dogs, and then we'll close out the weekend with a Sunday afternoon matinee with the Fayetteville Marksmen at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tonight, the Mayhem will put a Macon spin on Mardi Gras. Fans have been asked to bring their Cajun spirit for a chance to collect beads and doubloons. It will also be a Texas Roadhouse family 4-pack night. So it should be a fun atmosphere here at the Macon Centreplex. We're going to take a brief pause here from Middle Georgia. Again, thanks so much, folks, for joining us tonight. We hope you're enjoying your Friday. When we come back, we'll have 3 keys of the game: who's hot from Macon, who to watch from Huntsville, referees, starting lineups, and so much more. But first, a word from Mayhem head coach Ryan Michael at the onset of this 3-game series. Coming your way next in the Mayhem Broadcast Network. We'll be right back with you, folks. It's another 3-game weekend we've got coming up. Seems like there have been a lot of those for us lately. Huntsville at home on Friday, then Roanoke on Saturday on the road, Fayetteville on Sunday afternoon on the road. Obviously a very challenging schedule that lies ahead. What's, in your eyes, going to be considered a successful weekend at the end of Sunday night on that bus ride home from Fayetteville?
I think it's a mixture of points won and, my gut feeling of how we played. And, just like Peoria, the weekend before, I thought we played well enough to win both those games, other than maybe the third on Saturday, but, only came away with one. So I think it's the mixture of, we got to play the right way, and we got to do it, consistently for 60 minutes for 3 games. And at the same time, there's no moral victories. We got to still make up ground, so we got to find a way to get as many points as possible out of the weekend. It's going to be tough. I mean, second half of the year is always backloaded with these 3-3s, and it's easier when it's 3 at home. But going from Roanoke on Saturday night and playing in Fayetteville Sunday at 3 o'clock is it's not going to be easy against a top team. But that's just, it's going to be that much sweeter if we find a way to win those games. So just the mixture of points and kind of my gut feeling of how well we play.
Absolutely. Well, we will be rooting you guys on from Macon this weekend for sure. Friday, we can't wait for our family 4-pack, our second to last family 4-pack night of the season this Friday. You can visit our website, MaconMayhem.com, to get it that way if you're interested. It'll also be our Mardi Gras night. Speak with Zach Smith for details on that. I'm not exactly sure what he's got planned for Mardi Gras night against Huntsville. But then, of course, an enticing 2 points on hand against Roanoke on Saturday, who are in a pretty similar spot that we're in right now. They're chasing a playoff berth, and very important points there. And then a Sunday afternoon clash, which are always challenging, against Fayetteville on Sunday. All right, folks. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Well, that was an excerpt from our last episode of Line Change with Mayhem head coach Ryan Michael, in which I asked him to preview this weekend coming up for us. As you heard straight from the horse's mouth, the what will be a successful weekend in his eyes will be a combination of points and a gut feeling as to how the team played. Obviously, with a primary emphasis being placed on the points, he did describe how there is no longer such thing as a moral victory at this stage of the season, folks. The Mayhem need every point they can get. Right now, they sit 3 points behind Quad City, 4 points behind Roanoke, with whom they're chasing a playoff berth, and Roanoke has a game in hand, Quad City with 2 games in hand. So really every point the Mayhem can get is going to be heavily sought after, especially these ones on home ice, because frankly, folks, the Mayhem have struggled greatly on the road this season, and the few home games that they have left, they need to take advantage of, even against difficult opponents like the Huntsville Havoc. Let's take a look at the 3 keys of tonight's game. If you're a Mayhem fan at least, number 1, staying alert for the first 5 minutes of play. The last 2 times the Havoc have been in this building, Tyler Piacentini has scored in the first minute. So not just watching out for him, who is in all likelihood going to be on the ice. As a matter of fact, I do have it. He will be starting tonight for the Havoc, which is not a surprise at all, as he's scored the first goal of the game within seconds. Both of the last 2 times Huntsville's been here, I think that's a no-brainer from Glenn DeTulio's standpoint to start him tonight. But essentially being alert for the first 5 minutes of play and setting the tone and not trying to play from behind against a team like this for starters. Secondly, keeping a head on a swivel. Coach Michael did describe that even during Piacentini's goal on Friday last week, in the opening 20 seconds of play, in which Nukovic fed him a nice cross-crease pass or diagonal pass across the offensive zone, the Mayhem were actually in a pretty decent position on the back check. Even though they didn't quite get back quickly enough, they were in the right spots, but they didn't keep their heads on a swivel well enough to spot the open man breaking at the net. So keeping their heads on a swivel will be key number 2 for the Mayhem. And finally, limiting opposing odd man rushes. That was one of the keys the last time these 2 teams met for the Mayhem. The Havoc, a team that loves to play north-south hockey. They love to enter the offensive zone on odd man rushes and make opponents pay for neutral zone turnovers. So the Mayhem are going to have to be very careful about allowing Huntsville to get the wheels turning and get onto multiple 2-on-1s, 3-on-1s, 3-on-2s, you name it. So, just to recap, your 3 keys of the game tonight for the Mayhem: being alert for the first 5 minutes, keeping a head on a swivel, and limiting opposing odd man rushes. These are your 3 keys of the game. Let's take a look at who's hot for the Mayhem, starting with Colton Walter, who's an obvious choice. He had the hat trick on Saturday against Knoxville. It was just the 7th hat trick in Mayhem franchise history, and it was one that really sent the Macon Centreplex into an uproar on Pack the Plex night. Secondly, Stepan Timofeyev, who is sort of an unsung hero from that weekend. He had 4 assists last weekend between the game against Huntsville on Friday and against Knoxville on Saturday. Very impressive weekend from the reigning Federal Hockey League's Rookie of the Year when they were the Federal Hockey League last season. Now, of course, the FPHL. But Stepan Timofeyev with, I think, his best weekend since joining the Mayhem. And finally, Sean Lynch, he had 3 assists on Saturday against Knoxville. He was all over the score sheet as well. As for Huntsville, their captain Scott Trask had 3 points last weekend between playing here on Friday night and then in Huntsville against Fayetteville on Saturday. Always a force to be reckoned with, number 79 in the white sweaters. He will not be in the starting lineup for Glenn DeTulio and company, but he will play tonight for the Havoc. Secondly, Tyler Piacentini, it goes without saying. He's got 6 points in 3 games against Macon this season. He has been a Mayhem killer. 2 goals, 4 assists, and both of his goals have come in the first minute of play, both nights that he's been in this building. So Piacentini, number 14 for Huntsville, will be worth keeping a very close eye on for Ryan Michael and the Mayhem. And finally, Nolan Kaiser, defenseman who leads. They're tied for the team lead in blue liners and goals scored this season for the Havoc. He returns from a 21-day IR. He's missed 9 games in a row. He's been with the Havoc for a long time, and he's one of the leaders on the blue line. So Nolan Kaiser, number 10 in the white sweaters, is our 3rd and final player to watch tonight for the Huntsville Havoc. The starting lineup for the Havoc is as follows. Pat Condon on defense with Saverio Posa on his right. Posa has played in all 35 games this season for the Havoc, as has Pat Condon. As a matter of fact, there are a lot of players on this Huntsville squad that have not missed a game at all this season. Kyle Sharkey, another one, will be in the starting lineup tonight, as will Rob Durar, who has also played in every game this season, has nearly scored at a point-per-game pace. He is 2nd on the team in points, only to Sean Bates, who will not play tonight for the Havoc. And then finally, Tyler Piacentini, as we mentioned, will be flanking Sharkey and Rob Durar. In goal, the Havoc are going with Max Milasek, who has been one of the top goaltenders in the SPHL this season, a former Mayhem netminder with a .927 save percentage and even 2.00 goals against average. and a very impressive record of 17-4-2. Milasek currently tied for the league lead in wins this season. He and Eric Levine of the Peoria Rivermen each have 17, and then there's a pretty good-sized drop-off after those two in the wins column this season among qualified goaltenders. So Max Milasek right now leads the league in wins, or is at least tied with Eric Levine. He is second in the league in goals against among qualified goalies, second only to Pensacola's Jake Kupski, and is pretty shortly behind the top 5 among goaltenders in save percentage this season as well, with a .927 mark. The starting lineup for your Macon Mayhem will be announced momentarily by tonight's public address announcer, John Reagan, who is also running the DJ booth as well. So it'll be a busy night for John. Unfortunately, our usual public address announcer, Charles Olson, could not make it here tonight. Before he announces the starting lineups, of course, introductions are in order for the SPHL's best mascot, Mac, who's going to skate onto the ice for the first time tonight, and elicits a loud round of applause from this Friday night crowd here at the Macon Centreplex. The Mayhem really trying to continue the momentum that they generated from last Saturday's record-breaking crowd on Packplex night. Folks still filing in here at the Macon Centreplex on our penultimate family 4-pack night of the season. Alex De Oliveira will be starting on defense tonight. De Oliveira with 28 games under his belt this season, 6 assists. He's been with the Mayhem for virtually the entire season, though he started in Peoria, played a little bit in Quad City. Josh Kuzno, longtime SPHL veteran in his 6th season in this league, has won a President's Cup in both other teams he has played for, the Ice Flyers and the Ice Bears. Stephen Pirog, the Macon captain and leading scorer this season, 27 points in 35 games played. Pirog has led the Mayhem in really every sense of the word since the campaign began. Oscar Arfelt, who was brought on board earlier this month following that trade to Fayetteville in exchange for Stathis Sumalitis and Jarrett Cup. He's playing in just his 3rd game for the Mayhem this season. And Dylan Denemy, who was recently appointed alternate captain on the ice for home games by Ryan Michael, has been a huge return to the Mayhem since coming back after playing 1 full season in France's top league last year. Starting in goal will be Hayden Stewart. The rest of the team was announced by our PA announcer before Stewart was, but Stewart is out there on the blue line now, joining his team. For the Mayhem this season, Stewart's played in 8 games, a 3.10 goals against and an .899 save percentage. He's looking for his 3rd victory with the Mayhem. He's currently got 7 wins total on the campaign, the other 5 of which came with the Knoxville Ice Bears. These have been your starting lineups, folks. We're just moments away from puck drop here at the Macon Centreplex for some Friday night hockey before the Mayhem hit the road to take on Roanoke tomorrow and Fayetteville on Sunday afternoon. The singing of our country's national anthem will be next. For now, we're going to take a brief time out here on the Mayhem Broadcast Network and step aside. In the meantime, please enjoy our country's national anthem until we come back. So we are just about ready to go here for some Friday night hockey. The Mayhem hosting the Huntsville Havoc for the last time this season. They have played against them 3 times. The Havoc have gotten the better of them so far in the season series in the head-to-head department, winning 2 out of 3 matchups thus far. The Mayhem against the Havoc 1-1-0 on home ice, 1-2-0 overall. They do have a few more games against Huntsville. They will be both in March 13th and 14th this season. Those will be the last tilts against the Havoc this regular season. Mayhem coming into this game with a record of 10-20-5, trying to continue to improve their season and work their way into a playoff spot. The Huntsville Havoc coming into this tilt ranking 4th in the SPHL with a record of 21-11-3. Unlike most teams in the league, their record is quite a bit better on the road than it is on home ice, which is an anomaly and not a good one for the Mayhem looking into tonight's matchup. The Havoc, also another remarkable statistic in their favor, their overtime record, remarkable at 9-1. They very seldom lose when going to extra time. However, their shootout record a lot more meager at just 1-2. The referee for tonight's game is Jake Jackson. The linesmen are Eric Arrigo and Phil Russeler. This is game number 36 for the Mayhem of the 2019-20 regular season, and it is now underway as the Havoc win the opening faceoff and take it back into their own zone. They quickly work it up the boards. Kyle Sharkey on the far side trying to wedge it out in front of his own bench. Couldn't do it, and Denemy goes into the corner, swings it across the slot. Nobody is there except for Huntsville, and they will skate it out of harm's way. It's been dumped in behind the Macon net by Severio Posa, played by Sharkey, who advanced it too far into his path. Josh Kuzno is there in the near corner to take it away from him, and Pirog will jam it into the far corner for Oscar Arfelt to pursue it, and he's got it on his stick now. Well, the Mayhem have gotten through the first 20 seconds without conceding a goal to Tyler P. Asantini, so that's a good start for them, but they have just iced the puck, and the face will come back into their zone. That icing call has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. We are 41 seconds into this contest, scoreless at the Macon Centreplex. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, folks. Whether you're tuned in on SPHL Live, watching our HD feed, or tuning in on YouTube, we're so glad to have you with us on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. Defensive zone face-off for the Mayhem coming up. Sajnukovic against Steven Pirog, won by the former of the two. Quick shot off the draw was taken by Stefan Beauvais and blocked by the Mayhem. It ricocheted back out into neutral ice, and Nolan Kaiser put it back across the blue line. Steven Pirog with a good stick on the puck was able to just jam it back down into Huntsville ice, and then he headed to the Macon bench to complete the change. Now Stefan Beauvais has it behind his own net with Nolan Kaiser forming back. He receives the pass from Beauvais, far half wall. Kaiser will jam it off the boards and out into Macon territory. Ben Campbell spins and did a good job of eluding the pressure, and will work it up the right wall for Stepan Timofeyev. He flutters a pass into the middle. Here's an opportunity. Right wing shot snagged by the glove of Dylan Denemy, of Max Millisek. It was Denemy taking the shot. And Max Millisek has made his first save of this game. The Mayhem will go to an offensive zone faceoff. Colton Walter to take the draw. It'll be to the left of Millisek, his blocker side. Walter, in Macon's last game, scored the team's first hat trick in over a year, just 7th in franchise history. The last time it had happened was on January 19th of 2019 against the Evansville Thunderbolts on the road. It was scored by Alexander Tallinn. Right point shot by Brandrup gets blocked. Side of the net attempt by Chance Braid doesn't work out, and the Mayhem have jammed it out to neutral territory. And Colton Walter will send one into the left corner. Sean Lynch finished his check on Alex Palmerville. Good-sized hit. And now a 5- or 6-man scrum ensues in the near corner with looks like the odds favoring Huntsville in that scrap. And as a result, they come away with the puck. It's Ryan Verbeek who will skate it out of his own zone. He dangles in across his own blue line, takes it in front of the Macon bench, goes wide down the left side, dangles around a check and shoots. Save. Big rebound for Baird, and it bounced on him at the last second. The Mayhem catch a break. Nice move by Ryan Verbeek to create that scoring opportunity for the Havoc. The Mayhem, Zach Urban has flung it out to the opposing blue line. It's intercepted there. Here come the Havoc, 2-on-1 to the goal. Shot, save Stewart. They score on the rebound. That's exactly what Huntsville wants to do. They want to catch the Mayhem flat-footed in the transition attack and get odd man rushes, and that's what they have done. Kyle Sharkey finishing the goal off, his 13th of the season, his 24th point, and the Havoc are off and running with a 1-0 lead. Puck's been whacked past Oscar Arfelt, and he goes back to recover it in the far corner of the Macon zone. Steven Pirog receives the pass from him, and Josh Kuzno has it on the left side. He attempts to trickle it through a pair of Huntsville skates, but an offside whistle is blown, and the Mayhem will have to retreat back out to neutral ice to take this face-off. 1-0 Huntsville. Kyle Sharkey with the goal. Rob Durar was given an assist, and Severio Posa was given the secondary. So Posa has just flung it off the glass. De Oliveira and punched it ahead. It's given away from Durar, and here comes Pirog on a 3-on-3 developing. Pirog gives it to his right. Denemy into the middle for Cousineau. Returns it. Denemy right wall. Will give it down to Pirog in the adjacent corner, but he overskated it. Severio Posa is out with it for Huntsville. Causes Denemy to blow a tire and will just sling the puck all the way down the ice. This could be an icing, but able to outrace De Oliveira for it will be Tyler Piacentini. So the icing's been waved off. Huntsville completing 2/5 of the change. In the meantime, the Mayhem on the defensive here as Durar flips it across the crease, and Michael Ciamello will pick it up off the carom of the far half wall. He gains the Huntsville line and puts it in front, redirected over top of the goal. And a good pass was made by Ciamello on that zone entry, but Steven Pirog just misfired. That flying puck's been brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. 16:38 to go in period one. It's 1-0 Huntsville. The goal being scored by Kyle Sharkey. And they will go to an offensive zone face-off. Colton Walter against Cy Nukovic in the left circle of the Huntsville zone. Won by Nukovic, but picked up quickly by Sean Lynch, who will rattle it back to the line. Larry Smith, a long shot, never seen by Millisek, but it was off the mark, fortunately for him. Ben Campbell will put one into the right corner, and it's whacked in behind the net. Ciamello's got it as he turns the corner. Mike Ciamello swerves his way into the deep slot with it, hangs on, leaves it at the blue line. Campbell's long shot, backhanded in front by Walter over top of the net. Close call from the Mayhem, but again, failing to convert. They just missed high. And now it's John Shivo shoveling the puck on net from the near point of the Macon zone, easily dealt with by Stewart. Campbell has to one-hand it along, gets it inside of his own trapezoid. Lynch accelerates it to Larry Smith, who will bank it off the half wall on the far side. Now it's Ciamello out to center ice. Had a productive couple of shifts here early on, has Michael Ciamello, who will just get rid of it and head to the Macon bench to complete what's left of this change. Caleb Cameron steps into the F1 position in front of the Huntsville net, and 15:43 remain here in period one. No icing here as it redirected off of a Huntsville stick in the neutral zone. Zach Urban will advance it to Timofeyev. Cameron makes a break for it, gets held up by Brandrup. And no icing here as Brandrup scoops up the puck before it reached the goal line. David Pawlowski doing some knife work in behind the Huntsville cage. And now it's Dave Nippert for the Havoc, who will put one into the neutral zone, taken away by the Mayhem. Zach Urban will advance it to Pawlowski, who redirects it on net from center ice, and Max Millisek will take no chances, just hanging on to that puck in the crease. 1-0 Havoc, your score. Their lone goal coming off the stick of Kyle Sharkey. Sharkey's been with the Havoc for a while. This is his third full season with them. He's played in every game this season. A native of Moore, Oklahoma, which I'm not sure I've ever seen a professional hockey player, or really any hockey player that I've known from the state of Oklahoma. And De Oliveira has a blowout. Piacentini tries to make him pay 2-on-1. The pass goes off the back of the skates of Arfelt and wide of the net. A close call does not cost the Mayhem, and they're out to center with it. Dylan Denemy from the red line just chips it in. Pirog racing after it. He jars it loose from Condon. Condon concedes possession to Dylan Denemy in the near corner. Dylan Denemy reverses it down the wall. Josh Keplinger put it behind the net. Pirog attempted a pass into the front for Larry Smith, who's rarely in that neck of the woods, but it did not work out. The pass from Pirog just didn't have enough mustard on it. Now here comes Condon, 2-on-2 for Huntsville. Left circle. Pat Condon carries it into the far corner. He'll just deliver it behind the net for Piacentini, who centers, and the shot was whiffed on by Scott Trask. Now here come the Mayhem. It's raced through center by Colton Walter, who I guess didn't see the pass to Denemy available until it was too late, and Nolan Kaiser will take over for the Havoc. He will slide one off the half wall, the side wall rather, far side. Trask down the left wing. Gave it to Nukovic. He will put it behind the net, hoping for Shivo. It bounces off his skate into the circle. Now Lynch gets it. Lynch puts it up the middle. Here comes Ciamello storming down the slot. He fires, blocker save made by Max Millisek. Mike Ciamello's been all over the place in the offensive zone so far tonight, folks. Here's Shibo through center, 1 against 4 while his team changes. His shot is easily dealt with by Stewart. Shibo recovers the puck in the far corner. And we'll just jam it down the boards far side. Nippert puts it in front, bounces back to the right point. Alec Brandrup tees it up and sends up Nippert, who centers it. Quick shot turned away by Stewart into the near half wall. 13:26 to go. Play continues. Long slap shot by Brandrup is fought off by Stewart, and the puck's gone out of play. That flying puck's been brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. And we're going to head to our first media timeout of this hockey game. That's a case, folks, where the Mayhem really just had no excuses. John Shibo came in 1 against 4. His team was in the midst of a line change, and the Mayhem did not win the battle. 1 against 4 in the far corner. John Shibo just really outworked everybody, and that's a situation that's not going to sit well with Ryan Michael on the Mayhem bench. And if you're outnumbering your opponents by that margin, you should come away with the puck in your own zone 100 times out of 100, and the Mayhem did not do that. As a result, Huntsville ended up with a pretty darn good scoring chance, and Stewart bailed the Mayhem out. 1-0 in favor of Huntsville with 13:21 to go in period 1. The home team will go to a defensive zone face-off in the near circle of the Macon end. It will be to the left of Hayden Stewart, which is his glove side. As is the case for most goaltenders, but Max Milasek sort of defying the stereotype. He catches right. David Pawlowski to take the defensive zone draw against Dave Nippert. He wins the draw cleanly. And Zemlitska will put it behind his own net. Urban advances it up to Cameron, who chips it out past his own blue line. In pursuit of it now is Alex Palmerville for Huntsville, playing in his 6th game for the Havoc this season. He halts with it behind his own net. Palmerville makes a long breakout pass out beyond Urban. It's been recovered by Zemlitska and battered back up the wall. Recovered by Cameron, overskated. The Mayhem back in control at center as Pawlowski will flop one in. He goes in to pursue it. Max Milasek behind his own cage, rattles it around the boards to the far side. Caleb Cameron has it. Cameron is sort of met by the referee along the half wall. As a result, it kind of stymied his maneuverability. Cameron not too pleased with that, but it's played near corner by Zemlitska. Up the wall, Urban redirects it out past his own blue line. Piacentini recovering it for the visitors, but he haphazardly gave it back to Saverio Posa. It wasn't in his wheelhouse. He goes all the way back behind his own net, however, to help his team out, and has just fluttered it out to neutral ice. Alex de Oliveira put the puck off the stick of Dylan Denemy. He will go after it, sizes up Posa into the end wall. Denemy getting some help from Keplinger along the goal line. Keplinger knocked his man off the puck. Denemy recovers it in the far corner, but can't move it in a productive fashion. Kyle Sharkey down there fighting for Huntsville with help from Pat Condon. Rolls loose to Pirog. Back to the right point, it's Arfelt. Arfelt will put it in behind the net. Saverio Posa's there, and he'll be able to easily break this puck out for the Havoc. It's Rob Durar on the right side. He gains the Macon line, gives it to Piacentini, whose return pass is outside of his reach. Scott Trask from the far half wall, fresh off a change. He carries it into the Oscar Arfelt vicinity, and the Swedish-born defenseman couldn't clear it. Up to the left point, it's a long shot by Gerling, or rather Beauvais, that gets blocked and flutters into the near corner of the Macon zone. Scott Trask, he will center it. Nice pass. Beauvais gave it off. Nukovic slides it to Kaiser, right point above the circle. His shot is denied by Hayden Stewart. Nice stop by Hayden Stewart, the Cornell University grad, on Nolan Kaiser. Kaiser, an alternate captain for the Huntsville Havoc. He is returning from the 21-day IR today. He missed the last 9 games for Huntsville in his fifth season with them. He's been around for a long time. He does have a lot of players on this Huntsville roster, folks. They've done a great job over the years of keeping their championship core intact. Colton Walter, near corner fighting for it. Nukovic takes it away and centers, and John Shibo is denied by Hayden Stewart. Shibo's shot coming from the inside of the near circle of the Macon zone. Hayden Stewart was square to it and conceded no rebound. He's looked sharp in the early going. He's been far busier than Max Milasek at the other end. Colton Walter with a defensive zone face-off against the other number 19, Cy Nukovic. Nukovic bests him. Right point, Beauvais. Down the half wall for Shibo. Bottom of the circle. His shot is denied by Stewart. Cleared by Smith. Taken by Lynch and hoisted out whacked out of midair by a high stick. Cy Nukovic was found guilty of that, so the faceoff will exit the Macon zone. 10:59 to go in the first, 1-0 Huntsville. Kyle Sharkey, your lone goal scorer tonight. Thank you for joining us, folks, on YouTube and on SPHL Live. We're so happy to have you with us on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. Larry Smith comes away with it in the neutral zone draw. We'll give it over to Ben Campbell, who put it off the stick of Timofeyev and into the Huntsville zone. It rattles off the near stanchions, and Nolan Kaiser's attempted clear succeeds. Nukovic gives it across to, that's Ryan Verbeek in front of the Huntsville bench. He will give it back to Kaiser. Nolan Kaiser hangs on to it, throws it just wide of the net. That's an icing called against Huntsville. 10:34 to play in the first, 1-0 in favor of the visitors. Ryan Verbeek had an Uncle Pat, who was a third-round draft pick of the New Jersey Devils. He played 21 seasons in the National Hockey League. He won a Stanley Cup in 1999 with the Dallas Stars, Mike Modano and company, and is currently the assistant GM for the Detroit Red Wings, where he finished his playing career in the early 2000s. If I'm not mistaken, Ryan Verbeek's father was also an NHL draft pick of the Hartford Whalers. John Shivo with a good pass to Cy Nukovic, and here he comes. Verbeek left side, slap shot. Whistles wide of the near post and out to center ice. Caleb Cameron was in perfect position to receive it. He will just shovel it down to the near corner and was overskated by Pawlowski. And Mike Cimello is able to jostle it loose. He corrals it left circle, gives it across to Urban, right corner, who put it on net, whacked at the goal a couple of times, a couple of saves by Millisek, and he's able to locate the loose puck in the blue paint. 9:59 to go in the first, 1-0 in favor of Huntsville. This will be our second media timeout of this hockey game thus far. After tonight's game, the Mayhem will hit the road for a 5-game road stretch where they really have got to improve their fortunes on the road this season. That they certainly cannot continue to amass the record that they have on the road this season. That's got to come to an end on this road trip coming up, really, if they want to make the playoffs. So the time to reverse their fortunes is now, and they'll have plenty of opportunities to do that with Roanoke, Fayetteville, Pensacola, and then Fayetteville again on the horizon. Those are the road games separating Macon from its next home tilts, which will be on February 21st and 22nd. The former is our Macon Mistakes Night, and the latter is our Pucks and Paws Night, which those of you tuned in, if you're a dog lover, we'd certainly encourage you to come hang out with us that night and enjoy some Mayhem hockey on Saturday, February 22nd. All furry friends are welcome here at the Macon Centreplex. If you've got a wiener dog, even better. Register him or her for our wiener dog races by visiting our website, maconmayhem.com. Huntsville winning the defensive zone faceoff, and Alec Brandrup will leave it in the near corner. Chance Braid trying to clear. Check that Nippert. He's able to get it over the blue line. Denemy was manning it, and now it's Zach Urban pumping one into the adjacent corner, the far side of the Huntsville zone. Pirog receives it, edge of the circle, couldn't get his shot away, and here come the Havoc. Braid down the left side, defended well by Urban. He will feed it to Dylan Denemy, who's in neutral ice now. Will fire it in from center ice, a 100-foot shot that's denied by Max Millisek. 9.5 to play in the first, 1-0 Huntsville is your score. Kyle Sharkey lighting the lamp for the visitors with his 13th goal of the season. Pretty early into this contest. The Mayhem will go to another offensive zone faceoff. It'll be to the right of Max Millisek, his glove side. Left circle on your screen on SPHL Live. And Rob Durard jumped the gun. He's going to get booted from the faceoff circle. Taking his place will be Kyle Sharkey to counter Colton Walter. Sean Lynch is in the shooting hole. Walter trying to win it to him, couldn't do it. Good job done by Sharkey, who's a natural winger. Walter near corner. Will try to spin it back to the point. Oliveira's shot gets blocked. Piacentini makes a break for it, tries to split the defense. Oliveira with an excellent stick in the neutral zone. Piacentini extremely dangerous and obviously pretty quick. When you see a forward with a 5'5" frame, a lot of people dismiss him, but that is most unwise when it comes to Tyler Piacentini. He's got a lot of top-end speed, acceleration, and agility, and knows how to put the puck in the back of the net. He's now tied for second on the team lead in goals this season behind only Rob Durar, who leads the entire league in shots on net. Pat Condon knocks it up the boards. Good stick lift by Walter to win possession back. Condon's second clearing effort doesn't work. Walter from the far point shovels a pass to Chimello, spins far side. Chimello's knocked off the puck by Pat Condon. He goes down, and the loose puck is settled by Saverio Posa. Condon is in agony right now without his stick and will just skate in much distress back to the Havoc bench. Hopefully he's okay. Puck's been floated into the slot. Piacentini tried to settle it down, couldn't do it. Walter allowed the puck to go through his skates. Here comes Timofeyev. The skilled Russian will chip it into the left corner. It's recovered by Stefan Beauvais, who's checked by Timofeyev along the end wall. Piacentini gave it away to Larry Smith. Smith's pass was a good one, right on the tape of Pawlowski. His fellow New Yorker goes down the right side and chips it into the adjacent corner on the far side of the ice. The Havoc are quickly out of their own zone. Piacentini, red line, will just dump one past Smith this time, and Ben Campbell goes into the sign station logo area and will rattle one along the end wall. The Mayhem failed to clear it. Beauvais put it to the side of the goal for Scott Trask. Far corner. He tried to center it for Shibo. It ricocheted off of a skate back into the corner occupied by Trask. He will wheel to the top of the circle and put it into the deep slot for Kaiser. Long bullet just off the mark. And it's cleared out of harm's way for the time being by Pawlowski, but not out of the zone as Beauvais pinches in. Goes into the corner, sets up Shivo, given to Nukovic. His pass back to the line, goes off a Macon stick and out into neutral territory. The Havoc have just flung it back in, counterclockwise along the end wall. 7:32 to go in period one. It's 1-0 Huntsville. Larry Smith takes a whack at it as it pops up and lands near Pawlowski, who failed to clear it, courtesy of a pinching Brandrup. Here's a chance for Verbeek. He shoots, he scores. Ryan Verbeek came away with the puck from the near circle, skated into the slot with it, and beat Hayden Stewart cleanly. It's a 2-0 Huntsville lead with Verbeek scoring his 5th goal of the season and his 8th point. The visitors lead 2-0. Dave Nippard winning the neutral zone draw. And Alec Brandrup has cleared it off the boards and out into neutral territory. Goes into the right corner where it's played by Wojtek Zemlitska, not out of the zone. He gets some help from Dylan Denemy. And it's been centered along the blue line. Stephen Pirog blows a tire. It's taken back along by Dave Nippard, who will commence a counterattack for the Havoc. Nippard put it over the blue line. It's chipped into the goal line area by Tyler Piacentini. Hoisted off the glass and out into the Huntsville zone, played by Saverio Posa. Alex de Oliveira. Oscar Arfelt gets it to Mike Chimello, who will fire the puck off the skates of Oscar Arfelt. And we're going to get a whistle-stopping play. We're going to take a brief pause on the Mayhem Broadcast Network, folks. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on SPHL Live and on YouTube. 2-0 Huntsville, your score, with 6:17 to go in the first. We'll be back in just a moment. So the puck takes a strange carom off the near corner boards, and Oscar Arfelt has advanced it up to Mike Chimello. Now de Oliveira put it across the blue line. Colton Walter lost the puck. It went on goal. It's steered aside by Max Millisek and into the far corner. Sean Lynch, far half wall, rattles it to the point. Oscar Arfelt with a nice head fake, goes wide on Sharkey. Sharkey trying to knock the puck off his stick. Oscar Arfelt twisted in behind the net. Colton Walter is checked by Durar. Now it's Sean Lynch, near corner. The Mayhem trying to answer to Huntsville's insurance marker. Chimello in the slot, gave the puck over to Lynch, miscommunication. Lynch turns with it, he centers it. Walter's got it in the high slot, and he's knocked off balance, and Huntsville's just cleared it. Tyler Piacentini racing down the right wing. He's watched by Oliveira, had his shot sail off the protective netting and out of play. 5:16 to go in the first, 2-0 in favor of Huntsville, with goals coming from Kyle Sharkey and Ryan Verbeek in that order. Kyle Sharkey's tally coming just 2:21 into the contest, and Verbeek adding an insurance tally at 12:43, just 10 minutes and 22 seconds later. The Mayhem going to a defensive zone face-off with 5:16 to go in the period. They win it cleanly, and Ben Campbell advances it to Larry Smith in the far corner. Another good pinch by the Havoc. Boy, they really know how to time those steps. Their defensemen, very high contributors on the score sheet. That was the same case last year. A lot of defensemen that are not afraid to jump into the offensive zone to help generate offense. With that, of course, comes some risk, but they just seem to know the exact right moment to do so just about every time. Sajnukovic entering the Macon zone and flings it across the ice. Goes off the glove of Stepan Beauvais, a defenseman who's pinched. Let's see if the Mayhem can make him pay. Timofeyev right side with a toe drag. He shoots. Chest save, Milasek. And that is a big part of the reason why the Havoc have a lot of confidence among their defensemen. Kuzno has his stick slashed clean out of his hands, and the Havoc get away with a slash. Brandrup, far corner, checked by Pirog. Pirog centers it, good pass. Kuzno returns it to Pirog, but he's outnumbered in the slot, and Shivo has just hoisted it out in front of his own bench. Kuzno recovers it in the neutral zone, had his pass go off the stick of Nippard, who's all over it now and across the Macon blue line. He will slide it down to Verbeek, near side. Back up to the point for Brandrup, tees up a slap shot that gets blocked by Baird in front of his own net. Braid, I beg your pardon, Chance Braid. And now Josh Kuzno will fling the puck across the neutral zone, and Stepan Timofeyev has just played one into Huntsville territory and gone to the bench. At our next whistle, we will get our third and final media timeout of this first period as Alec Brandrup has it in his own zone. 11 points this season, 10 of which are assists. He sets up the first goal scorer tonight, Kyle Sharkey, with a crisp pass, and Sharkey has just dumped it in behind the Macon goal line. Oscar Arfelt's got it. He will advance it to Dylan Denemy. Throws a saucer pass through the neutral zone. Sean Lynch pumps it into the left corner of the Huntsville zone, and now Colton Walter sized up by Posa, trying to kick the puck free. Posa's got a good hold of Colton Walter for the time being, and as a result, the Havoc come away with it out of their own zone. Piacentini down the left side is off wing. He will put it into the far corner. Oliveira covers a lot of ice to try to play the puck. Rolls to the near side. Denemy has just shoveled it off the back of Lynch and out to the red line. Puck lands near one of the face-off circles. Durar has it pickpocketed by Pawlowski, and a miscue from Denemy results in a Macon turnover. Here comes Trask the other way for Huntsville. He steps in over the Macon blue line. 2:42 to go in the first. 2-0 Huntsville is your score. Oliveira slips one up to David Pawlowski, who will go wide down the left wing and dump it in. It's going to be stopped by Max Milasek inside of the Huntsville trapezoid and rimmed around to the near side of the ice. Long stretch pass finds Trask entering Macon ice. He will put it behind the net. It bounces in front after an awkward stanchion, and Hayden Stewart will just take a whistle. 2:22 to go in period one. 2-0 Huntsville. The visitors dominating the early stages of this game. Shots on goal favoring them 10-3. And we're going to head to our third and final media timeout of this game. We'll take a brief timeout on the Mayhem Broadcast Network, folks. Thanks so much for joining us. We hope you're enjoying this broadcast on SPHL Live and on YouTube.
Are you looking to raise some money for a cause and have a blast while doing it? The Mayhem would be happy to help you out through our fundraiser program, available for all home games throughout the season. You buy tickets from us for $10 each, you sell them for $15, and you keep the remaining $5 per ticket sold for whichever cause your heart desires. If you were to sell 50 tickets, for example, you would collect $250 for your fundraiser. Call our office at 478-803-1592 for more information. So the Mayhem going to a defensive zone face-off.
It'll be to the right of Hayden Stewart. It will take place between Cy Nukovic and David Pawlowski. Nukovic has been on a roll of late. Now with 33 points on the campaign, just one away from tying Sean Bates for the team lead as Stewart makes a big save off the draw, and the rebound shot was sent wide by Shibo. The Havoc just relentless trying to build on this already 2-goal lead, but Chimello intercepts the pass back to the line and escapes with it on a 3-on-2. Pawlowski down the right wing, put it over the blue line. Kaiser cuts it off, and we get a whistle. I believe the linesman is saying this was an offside play. This is an officiating crew we've not seen yet this season, at least not to my knowledge. They've not been in the Macon Centreplex at all this season. Jake Jackson, the referee, the linesman Eric Arrigo, and Phil Russeler. Don't recognize any of those three names. The Mayhem winning the neutral zone faceoff, and Wojtek Zemlicka's rattled it in behind the Huntsville net. Took a bit of a strange bounce, but Milasek was able to glove it. And Zemlicka waiting the puck at the left point will put it in behind the net. Pirog is there. He jams it along, and Kuzno allows it to go all the way through for Zach Urban. Urban put it back behind the net. Pirog's got it on his backhand, turns away from Kaiser, gains some separation, sets up Urban at the line, long slap shot blocked, and Kaiser calmly just pops one out into the neutral zone. Zach Urban trying to sidestep a hit. That was thrown his way from Ryan Verbeek. Now it's Dave Nippard. Minute 26 to go in period 1. 2-0 Huntsville is your score. Alex de Oliveira wheels behind his own net, throws it up the left wing for Keplinger. Walter has possession entering the Huntsville zone. Gets some reinforcements from the Macon bench. Walter goes in deep with it and will leave it for Sean Lynch. Lynch put it behind the goal again. Walter's got it on his backhand. He's checked into the corner boards on the far side by Alex Palmerville. And again, Huntsville with a very clean breakout from their own zone. The puck pinballs its way onto the stick of Huntsville's Kyle Sharkey, whose shot is denied by Stewart. He then covered it up with his glove. 48.1 to go in the first. 2-0 Huntsville. Shots favor the visitors 12-5. Through the first 19 minutes and 12 seconds of this game. Another defensive zone faceoff will feature David Pawlowski here to the right of Hayden Stewart. The puck drops. Pawlowski with a clean win on the draw. Oscar Arfelt has it in the far corner and has thrown it off the glass. Caleb Cameron tried to set up Dylan Denemy down the right side, but a good defensive stick was made by Pat Condon. Good to see him back on the ice. He had a bit of a scary moment earlier in this game. Milasek actually jumped into the air to block that shot aside from the neutral zone on Caleb Cameron's attempt. Oscar Arfelt intercepting it in front of the Huntsville bench. Just flown one into the left corner. 19 seconds. Denemy tracks it down and centers it. Milasek with a bit of an awkward save made it with his stick and hung on to it with his glove. 16.2 to go in the first. 2-0 in favor of the visiting Huntsville Havoc. Back-to-back defending President's Cup champions. These two teams meeting tonight were the last two teams to win the President's Cup. Pirog to take the offensive zone draw against Cy Nukovic. Nukovic able to get the better of him, and Piacentini has just lopped one into Macon territory. Oscar Arfelt with some head faking before he even got the puck. It's that subtle deception, that art of deception that Mayhem head coach Ryan Michael loves about him. And that'll just about do it for period 1. Ryan Michael, when he played, certainly relied on head faking and deception and trickery like that. He was very good on his skates, made plays that most players deemed difficult look easy, and had to rely a lot on his smarts and his hockey IQ. He obviously didn't really have the size working in his favor for the most part, so had to find strengths in other areas and was extremely poised when he had the puck on his stick, and he still does it when practicing, those little subtle head fakes left and right, those little gestures that sort of create the seed of doubt in his opponents, and that's exactly what Oscar Arfelt does. Even when he doesn't have the puck, he sort of does it with his head. it may look easy and look like it comes naturally, and for some players it does more so than others, but it's an art form, folks. It takes a lot of practice to really sell it. And Oscar Arfelt, on numerous occasions this season since joining the Mayhem, this is just his third game, we've already seen him really just get inside of the minds of some of his opponents and use his smarts, his head fakes and whatnot to buy a little separation from opposing players. 2-0 Huntsville through the first period of play. 14-5 your shots on goal in favor of the Haddock. Kyle Sharkey, Ryan Verbeek scoring at 2:21 and 12:43 respectively. Assists going to Severio Posa, Rob Durar, and John Shibo. We hope you've enjoyed this first period of Mayhem hockey on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. Thanks so much for joining us, folks, wherever you might be. Whether you're a Mayhem fan or a Huntsville fan, we're very happy to have you on board with us as Macon plays in its 36th game this regular season. Only 20 games remain after this. Now, only 6 of them will be on home ice. We're going to step aside on the Mayhem Broadcast Network, folks. When we come back, we'll have a intermission report with out-of-town scoreboard updates brought to you by Hampton Inn & Suites, and we'll break down this game in greater detail and so much more. But first, we're going to head to our first intermission break and take a listen to this past Monday's Creekside radio show with myself, along with a player guest, Colton Walter, the man who scored the hat trick on Pack the Plex night on Saturday 6 days ago. If you didn't get a chance to listen to that on the Mayhem YouTube channel, it's coming your way next on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. Don't go anywhere, folks. This one's just getting started. 2-0 Huntsville through the first 20 minutes of play.
100.9 The Creek, Real Music, Real Radio. Creekside Mornings, Tony Doolin, Charles Davis, and his Shovels and Rope. The Devil is all around. They're coming to town February 14th.
Valentine's Day.
Make a nice Valentine's Day date.
Go ahead and take care of it now so you won't be rushing later.
Exactly. Buy those tickets now. It is Monday morning.
It is.
Coming off of 3 hockey games over the weekend, which means...
Alex Von Coito, the voice. From Alex Von Coito, the voice. Voice. From Alex Von Coito, the voice. 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 Voice.
Alex Von Coito! Alex, I don't know if you noticed, Ryan Smith from Lazy Susan is here. Ryan's our resident bartender.
Oh, that's who that was.
Yeah, that's who that is.
Okay. Cool.
So I'm not saying that we needed to drink this wine to have you on the show, but it don't hurt. It really doesn't. It really doesn't, dude.
Rosé out there.
Get yourself through that intro.
Rosé for Alex.
It's just a light beverage, you know?
Yeah.
Early morning
usually,
beverage.
Usually we wait and drink after you leave.
Yeah, then the hard liquor comes out.
That's when the hard liquor comes out. Alex, good morning.
Good morning.
It was a busy weekend, man.
It sure was. Yep.
So Thursday, Friday, Saturday games. Let's just talk about Saturday's game because that's the one everybody's buzzing about.
I agree. The first 2 games didn't go so well, so let's just get right into Saturday.
Man.
A lot of people there Saturday night.
He's like, yeah.
A lot of people.
Yeah, that was the largest crowd we've ever had.
Ever.
In 5 years.
So shout out.
Yep.
Over 5,600 people.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
I believe the final count was 5619.
That's
Which is
correct.
actually incorrect because I forgot my tickets and did not scan them.
Oh, so it's been 56-21.
5621. Should have been.
Okay, I thought you had 4 for some reason.
Well, I do. I only use 2.
Oh, okay.
Saturday
Don't
night.
use the dose.
Gotcha.
Only use 2.
All right. So, but
5621.
yeah, it was incredible. Just a huge shout out to Macon, Middle Georgia, and the surrounding area for showing your support, because that atmosphere that you guys created on Saturday just truly helped the team.
I bet. Yeah.
In every sense of the word. It helped the staff. You could just feel the electricity that
Crowd
night.
was into it. It was tough for me to do my job because I couldn't get through the aisles.
Right.
It was insane, dude.
Excuse me.
So maybe it actually hurt part of the staff, but it's still worth it.
Me.
Yeah.
And it's all about me, Alex. Let's just bring it back to me. It's all about me, man. But, man, what a good time
Yeah, it was.
Saturday night.
Unbelievable. Yep. The atmosphere was just unlike anything I've seen here in Macon for the past 2 seasons since I've been here. And obviously beyond that, I mean, Blair Floyd, our general manager, he posted a little tidbit yesterday on Facebook just thanking everybody who came out, because he's been here pretty much since the beginning. And he just kind of reaffirmed that was our biggest crowd ever by a long shot. I think it surpassed the championship game by almost 2,000.
Wow.
That's strong, man.
Yep.
That is very strong. But we do have a game this Friday, one
right.
game this weekend. Then it's a bit of a dry spell. We have a couple of weeks where we don't have home games. We don't pick up until, I believe, the 21st, 22nd
Yep,
of
that's right.
February. But tell us about Friday night's game versus Huntsville.
Yeah, so we're really hoping to obviously ride some of this momentum that we have now with just such a great, not only a great crowd, but a great win on Saturday as well, and carry that into this upcoming weekend. We're hosting Huntsville, trying to redeem ourselves. They're the team that beat us on Friday this past weekend. They're the defending champs. It's always a game that we have circled on our calendars, and it's our family 4-pack night that we're doing. This Friday, it's the second to last family 4-pack we're offering all season, so we definitely encourage you tuned in out there that if you've done a family 4-pack before and if you enjoyed it, by all means come on back, because it's a great, really affordable way to come out and enjoy a Mayhem hockey game.
Yeah.
The family 4-pack consists of, it's $50, 4 tickets, plus a $30 Texas Roadhouse gift card.
That's right.
That's a nice value, man.
It sure is. Yep. If you take off the gift card, that's just $5 a ticket.
$5
pretty much,
a ticket.
which is even less than
Then what you would pay Saturday.
than Saturday.
Then Pack the Plex night Saturday night.
Yeah.
And
so
you ain't
we're
got to take them kids out to use that gift card. You and your significant other use that.
No, leave the kids at home.
Yeah,
don't
no.
take the kids.
Also, just as a side note, you don't need to turn around and use that gift card that weekend or anything. It's good.
It's a gift card,
It's
you're good.
valid. It's valid until the end of the season at least.
Okay, cool.
I think early summer. So.
Okay, cool.
All right, so we've talked about this past weekend. We've talked about this upcoming game. Let's segue into the player. It's actually very tough for us to introduce you, because we have an artist we play here on the station who's called Colter Wall.
Culture wall.
So this throws me off a little bit.
Yeah.
Who are you? Because that ain't your name.
No, I'm Colton Walter.
Colton Walter.
Yes, sir.
Walton.
Okay, Walton.
Walton. How do you spell that?
W-O-L-T-E-R, Walter.
Walter.
You still got it
Wal-
wrong.
Well, I still got it wrong.
Yeah.
I told you it confuses me, man.
Colter Walton.
But you're a recent acquisition for the Mayhem. How long have you been here? 2 weeks?
Yeah, about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Well, you made a hell of an impression Saturday night. First hat trick we have had in the Centreplex in a couple of years.
Yeah. First hat trick the team's had since January of last season in Evansville.
Okay.
That was January 19th, I think. So
Look at you.
so over a year since we've had our last hat trick. I was really, and I don't think I've seen one at the Centreplex, so I was curious to see what would happen.
And obviously the answer is nobody really knew
We
what to
talked
do.
about that.
I have some questions about a hat trick.
Shout out to the people who did throw their hats.
All 8 of you.
Yeah.
All 8 of you.
Hats.
And it was delayed. They were like, is this when we do this?
Do it now,
This
right?
happens?
Okay.
A hat trick is when a player scores 3 goals in one game, and traditionally you throw your hat on the ice after the 3rd goal.
That's correct.
Maybe we lost count. Colter, I don't know. Maybe we lost count, man.
Yeah, I have no clue, honestly, what happened there. But got about 8 hats roughly. I mean, it's worth it.
Hey, look,
Do you get to keep those?
Yeah, I got to keep them. They're not
That's
hanging.
my
Were there some
question.
good ones in there?
Okay,
Are there a
alright.
couple good ones in there, though?
Yeah, there's a few good Macon hats in there.
Okay, all right.
Nice.
look, man, I love my Tigers hat. I would be hesitant to throw it on the ice. I'd be like, I don't get this back.
No, you don't.
No.
So you get to keep the hats.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
I
why I
respect
said-
that if you don't throw a hat. I'm a big hat guy. So
Yeah.
If you like
Okay.
a hat, don't throw it.
That's why I say
That's
bring
fair.
one with you.
That's
Bring an
fair.
extra.
To be fair, I know firsthand there were a few wives who didn't want their husbands throwing their hats.
Oh, because of the
And yeah,
follicle situations.
and well, yeah.
No, baby, you'll have hat head. Don't do that.
It is pretty tough to see it was a little tough to see the numbers on the jerseys, so maybe a few folks didn't know that it was a 19 who got the goal at the end there, or the second goal. It was tough for me, at least, to read those numbers from up in the press box, but all the same, I still like the jerseys.
Yeah.
I think they looked pretty good on the ice
Yeah,
overall.
yeah, they were very bright. Very
Well,
bright.
double dare.
Knoxville's were very dark.
So
Good contrast.
I want to talk about something you did when you scored the hat trick. You took the puck. You tossed the puck in the crowd. Did you hear the story about this?
No, I
No
didn't
one could
hear
find it
Oh, really?
until the next day. It had landed in a lady's purse.
Really?
Oh, also.
You had signed it, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you threw it in the crowd. No one could find that puck.
Oh, man.
Lady finds it in her purse the next day and posts it up on Facebook.
what is this in my
Yeah.
purse? Hold on, it's a puck.
That
It's
was
an autographed
hilarious.
puck.
It was one of the shillings, I think. I remember seeing that.
Tell me about you. Where are you from?
Oh, I'm from Fairbanks, Alaska.
Fairbanks, Alaska. And a native there, grew up there?
Yeah, born and raised. Didn't leave until I went to college 4 years ago or so.
When did you start playing hockey?
I started playing when I was 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah,
Okay. Normal answer.
Yeah, I
Standard.
heard
Normal
that's
answer.
a pretty standard answer.
That's a good standard answer for anyone up north. Down here, it's like, I was about 18 and didn't even know there was such a thing.
Thought it was fun.
But yeah, Fairbanks, 3 or 4 years old. Tell me where you played. How'd you get in Macon?
Shoot, I played all of my youth hockey growing up at Fairbanks. Then I got lucky enough to play for the junior team in Fairbanks.
Okay.
And then college came around, and I went to the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire, played 4 years, got a degree. And then last year I spent most of my year at Huntsville and bounced around at Peoria and then Roanoke. And then this year, obviously, we started at Roanoke and then came to Macon. So it's been a lot of teams in a short amount of time.
You won the Robbie Cup too, didn't you?
Yeah,
All right, now.
I was lucky enough to win 2 national championships while I was playing junior in my hometown.
Look at you.
Fairbanks.
All right now.
Ding the bell for that.
Yeah, that was nice.
Alex, you and I were talking about this, and I want to say this. It was a bit of a there were some fans who were upset about the trade, bringing you in, trading Ortiz. I think you've earned your cred.
Yeah, I think that should be
We'll
done
throw
now.
that out there.
Yeah.
You've earned your credibility.
Yeah.
But I said this off the air. Coach Michael inherited a team, and now it's his turn to build a team. And I like to see that you've made such an impact so quick. So congrats to both of
man.
you.
No,
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate
absolutely.
being here.
You're going to ask him the hockey movie because he's the first time he's been here.
Yeah, I'll
so
ask you this. All right,
Yeah,
greatest
so-
hockey movie of all time. There are only 3 choices. There is Miracle, Slapshot, or Goon.
Oh, easy miracle.
Everybody says that.
Easy.
That's what, yeah, that's my
I'm
boy.
sorry, the correct answer was Goon, and you're going to have to get that shirt back when you get here.
All right.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't.
I already sweated it.
Nobody has. We still have yet to have somebody give Tony the satisfaction.
Nobody's
Nobody.
giving him his answer.
Only me. I'm the only one who apparently likes this movie. And that is a damn shame. I'm just going to say that. Colton Walter.
Maybe if we had a goon on the team.
See, there's not a goon on the
We
squad.
don't really have one.
There's not one right now, but can I ask about the guy from Huntsville on Friday night? Looked like he was basically a Sasquatch on skates.
Oh, Lord.
Who is this guy?
Cantor,
Baxter
Baxter Cantor.
Yeah, that guy.
He's a tough kid.
Lord.
Yeah, he's tough.
A Sasquatch on the skates?
That's what he looked like, Charles. Just a Sasquatch in a hockey
Hairy
sweater.
like that?
A little bit,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay, welcome back, folks, and hope you enjoyed that segment from our Creekside interview this past Monday morning. Every Monday, I'll be on there with a player guest, with hosts Tony Doolin, Charles Davis, 100.9 The Creek, the official radio promotional partner of the Macon Mayhem. 2-0 Huntsville, your score through the first period of play. The Havoc with a 14-5 advantage in shots on goal as well. Let's break down what happened to start this game. There were no penalties called on either side. Not even anything offsetting. It was just strictly 5-on-5 hockey for 20 minutes. Kyle Sharkey opened the scoring for Huntsville, 2:21 into the contest, and Ryan Verbeek added a second 10 minutes and 22 seconds later. Sharkey was set up by Posa on an offensive zone entry, snapped a wrist shot from the slot to beat Hayden Stewart. And then at 12:43, Ryan Verbeek stepped into the slot following a puck scrap in the near corner of the Macon zone. John Shiva was given the lone assist on that goal from Verbeek. It was I don't want to call it a snapshot necessarily, but it was a heavy wrist shot, certainly from the slot area, and just went cleanly through Hayden Stewart. I believe it went high glove side on Stewart, but it was tough to tell. It developed very quickly, but nonetheless, Verbeek scoring his 5th goal of the season to bury what would be his 8th point in his 9th game. So Verbeek's been a very productive player in his short tenure with the Havoc so far this season. And he's, as of right now, he's got Huntsville's insurance goal to put them in front 2-0. Let's take a look around the SPHL for an out-of-town scoreboard update brought to you by Hampton Inn and Suites. The Fayetteville Marksmen hosted the Birmingham Bulls this week and are hosting them right now, I beg your pardon. They lead 3-0 over the Bulls, which if you're a Mayhem fan, it's honestly probably good news because the Bulls are within striking distance. They lead the Mayhem by just 4 points in the standings. That's one of the teams the Mayhem are hoping to catch for a playoff spot. Somebody else they're trying to catch also trailing by a multi-goal margin. It's 2-0 Knoxville over the Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs, so the Mayhem will face tomorrow night in Roanoke. The Ice Bears up 2-0 halfway through regulation against the Rail Yard Dogs. Now in Evansville, they're hosting the Peoria Rivermen. That head-to-head season series was very lopsided last season. This season, it's not so much been the case. Scoreless to the first 20 seconds or so. That game just got underway, and then our late game tonight, Pensacola will host the Quad City Storm. The Ice Flyers are in the Central Time Zone, thus the later start. Typically, most Florida teams are in the Eastern Time Zone, but there are parts of Florida, Pensacola included, that are in the Central Time Zone. So they will host the Quad City Storm at 7:35 p.m. Central Standard Time, which is in about 10 minutes or so if you're on the Eastern Seaboard or in the Eastern Time Zone. The Huntsville Havoc are also in Central, so those of you tuned in out there, it's only 7:30. If you're a Mayhem fan, most likely it is 8:30, unless, of course, you're a fan of any of the players involved, or a parent of the players involved, in which case it could be 4 in the morning for all we know. Obviously, with some of our player parents, Wojtek Zemlicka, Oscar Arfelt, and their European players, Stepan Timofeyev, and others, relatives of those players, I imagine it's probably some eerie hour. If you're tuned into this game, our regards from Middle Georgia. We hope you're enjoying the broadcast. So we've got about 100 seconds or so before second period action is underway. Again, Macon trailing by a 2-0 score. The Havoc getting off to another very quick start. They have done that all 3 times they've come to Macon this season. The first 2 times it was Tyler Piacentini scoring in the first minute. This time it took a little bit longer than that, but they still got the first goal, and they did it in typical Huntsville fashion on an odd man rush. The goal was scored by Kyle Sharkey, 2:21 in. It's a very quick developing 2-on-1. And Severio Posa was given the primary assist, Rob Darrer on the secondary. And again, Ryan Verbeek adding some insurance 10 minutes and 22 seconds later with a snapshot from the mid-slot. Macon hoping to get its 11th win this season. If they manage to win this game and everything else they're hoping for in the standings occurs, they will bring themselves within 2 points of a playoff spot and 1 point of the Quad City Storm, who are 1 spot ahead of them. But of course, it remains to be seen. A very long night on hand. It's a busy night in the SPHL. All 10 teams are playing. That will be the case again tomorrow. The Havoc have an afternoon clash at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, hosting the Evansville Thunderbolts. Jeff Bess and company are a very much improved squad. I think easily the most improved team in the SPHL this season. You could make the argument for Fayetteville as well. But we'll just say that last season for Evansville was one to forget. This season has been a whole nother story. They're in the top half of the SPHL leaderboards as of now, or as of Saturday. They have the Mayhem to thank for that, as they've got 2 games in hand over Knoxville. They have the same number of points in the standings, but because of the 2 games in hand, they have the advantage in point percentage. So the Evansville Thunderbolts now 5th in the league, Knoxville in 6th. And then Fayetteville will, in typical Fayetteville fashion, have a 6 p.m. start tomorrow night, hosting the Birmingham Bulls. The Mayhem will square off against the Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs at 7:05 p.m. Eastern. But the game that you're all here to see is back underway. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, folks, on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. And here we go. Second period action is on hand here. Alex de Oliveira from his own zone rattles it up the near boards. Stephen Pira collects the puck with a 2-on-2 as he's joined by Kuzno, will fire. Missed high and wide. It rattles to the left point. Tapped below the net by de Oliveira. Denomy's got it on his backhand. He turns. Dylan Denomy switches with Kuzno. Tries to set him up, but it was broken up by Severio Posa, who will motor out with the puck on his stick and chip it past the blue line. Tyler Piacentini in front of the Huntsville bench concedes possession and gets it right back before sliding it back in below the Macon goal line. Oscar Arfelt's got it for the Mayhem. Native of Djursholm, Sweden. Advances it up the far wall. Sean Lynch has it on his backhand, coughs it up to John Shivo. He will set up Scott Trask in across the Macon line, and a good stick lift on the back check by Walter caused an offside against Huntsville. Scott Trask, the Huntsville captain, leads the team in penalty minutes, leads the league as a matter of fact, now that Ryan Devine is no longer actively with a team at the moment. Scott Trask on the season with 83 PIMs. It's 13 higher than the next highest, Skylar Smutek of the Peoria Rivermen with 70. Ben Campbell with a DDD pass to Alex de Oliveira. And now it goes up to Sean Lynch, who's got it in front of the Huntsville bench. He will backhand a pass to Ben Campbell. And now it's been rattled off the near sideboards. Colton Walter puts it into the right corner of the Huntsville zone. It's played by Stepan Timofeyev. Comes in front. Walter backhands a shot on goal. Stopped by Milasek from point-blank range. Walter gets back on it. Attempts to center, hoping for Chimello. Nothing doing for him there. And the Huntsville Havoc escape with a 3-on-2. They're onside. Nukovic above the left circle. Will drop it to Shivo. Dipsy doodles around Ben Campbell, but the Duluth, Minnesota native read the play beautifully and gains the red line before dumping it in below the Huntsville goal line. 18:15 to go in the second period. 2-0 Huntsville is your score. Alec Brandrup guides the puck out to neutral ice. Zach Urban is back defensively. And now Chance Braid puts it below the goal line. Now here come the Mayhem. Keplinger. Zemlitska now. Sends it in behind the Huntsville net. Max Milasek to leave it for Alec Brandrup. Brandrup from his own zone. He cuts away from Caleb Cameron and wheels in behind the net and into the near corner. Cameron throws a good size hit against Brandrup. Tries to win the puck back, but he couldn't do it. And Chance Braid will send it off the stick of Pawlowski, who did well to keep it in the offensive zone. It's the period of the long change. The Havoc trying to get one. They have just iced the puck and will not be able to do it. That icing call has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. And the Mayhem will get a fresh 5 out there. The Havoc, in the meantime, will have to keep the same 5 out there, who they've had stuck there for a little while now. The Mayhem will look to take advantage of this situation. Stephen Pirog directing Josh Kuzno to his left. Oscar Arfelt manning the right point. In the deep slot is Alex de Oliveira, and Denemy's on his right flank. Denemy's got it now, right circle. Dylan Denemy will roll one in behind the goal line. It's scooped up quickly by Brandrup. Gave it away to Denemy, who passed it to nobody in particular just to try to keep the attack going. It works out. Arfelt could keep with his hand at the right point. We'll just slither one down to the corner. Denemy put it in behind the net. Kuzno put it off the back of the net. Rescued by Denemy, given up to Arfelt, right point, excellent move. He will send one to the side of the net. Pirog centers it. Denemy puts it over top of the goal and out of play. And the Havoc will finally get to change lines. They had some exhausted players out there, and it's unfortunate for the Mayhem that after all that, they couldn't even get a shot on net, but they had some good puck movement in the offensive zone. We talked about that subtle art of deception that Oscar Arfelt's really got going for him. Because of that move he made at the right point, he was able to get a pretty darn good scoring opportunity from it. Dylan Denemy crashing the goal and Stephen Pirog centering a pass for him. Colton Walter with an offensive zone faceoff opportunity, wins it cleanly to his right. Walter will leave it to Sean Lynch, half wall near side. Lynch getting some help from Michael Chimello, who had an excellent first period, but he couldn't find a way to get onto the score sheet. He helped his team create a lot of offensive chances. Ben Campbell reverses it to Larry Smith. Celebrated a 27th birthday on Tuesday of this week. Rob Durar banks it off the boards, back to the line. Long point shot, misses the net. Pat Condon steps in. He's harassed by Chimello. One-timer from Sharkey is into the glove of Stewart, who hangs on to it. Hayden Stewart with a glove snag on Kyle Sharkey, who opened the scoring tonight. Pretty early into this contest at 2:21. But that is the latest the Mayhem have allowed the Havoc to score a goal this season on home ice. Josh Kuzino will, or rather David Pawlowski will take this face-off against Cy Nukovic. And Nukovic getting the boot from the face-off circle. Scott Trask steps in his stead. And the Havoc have won the draw. Nukovic From his backhand center to pass, Trask was well covered. Nukovic far corner. Slides it to the point. Nolan Kaiser, long wrist shot through a screen, is blocked, and the Mayhem come away with it. Stepan Timofeyev at center. Trickles a pass through into the slot, played away by Kaiser. The Havoc on a counterattack now. Nukovic in across the blue line, leaves it off. John Shivo wheels in, carries behind the net and centers it. Nukovic with the shot, gets blocked by Caleb Cameron. Nukovic now wheels back up into the deep slot with it. He slides it to his left. Stepan Bove, D-to-D pass. Kaiser tees up a blast that missed the post on the near side. Ricochets back out to neutral ice, and Stepan Bove's got it. So he recovers it for the Havoc and pumps it out to the blue line. Nolan Kaiser accelerates it up to Trask, who gives a pass across the blue line and into the Macon zone. It's delivered into the right corner by Cy Nukovic, who will now go to the Huntsville bench for a change. Ooh, and then Zach Urban is cross-checked from behind by Chance Braid. Fans here not too happy with the non-call. I'll tell you what, folks, Jake Jackson has really let them play tonight. It's been a very lenient whistle for both sides. You've got to respect the fact that he has set the precedent and has stuck by it from start to finish, at least so far. We are inside of the first 5 minutes. At the next whistle, we'll head to our first media timeout. And that's our cue. Steven Piraga just flung the puck on net from center ice. Max Milasek making the glove snag. When we come back, the Mayhem will go to an offensive zone faceoff. 14:46 remaining in period 2. It's the Havoc leading the Mayhem by a 2-0 lead. We'll be back in just a moment, folks. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. 2-0 Havoc, your score. We hope you're enjoying your Friday night. We'll be back in just a moment.
Beloved Family 4-pack is back. The Mayhem are offering this incredibly affordable package for several games throughout the season. For just $50, you receive 4 tickets and a $30 gift card to Texas Roadhouse at 5080 Riverside Drive right here in Macon. The dates for these 4-pack nights will be announced on social media as they become finalized, so be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube for all the most up-to-date content.
So Colton Walter to take an offensive zone face-off to the left of Max Milasek, who's been perfect in goal so far for the Havoc. The 19s converge in the near face-off circle. Walter against Nukovic, won by the former. Arfelt at the right point. Will scale it down the half wall, carry it below the goal line, and set up Walter, who whiffed on the shot. Backhands it on goal. Excellent pad save by Milasek. Could not have been suspecting that shot by Walter, who recovered very quickly after fanning on the first shot. Arfelt did a nice job setting him up, but Walter couldn't really get the one-timer away. However, he did a really good job of just immediately shoveling it back at the net. Didn't really sulk or anything at all, as Brandrup the other way fired a shot that was denied by Stewart. Puck is chiseled free and out towards the player benches. Walter trying to finagle his way by. He's met by Brandrup, who comes away with the puck and backhands it up the near wall. Chance Braid's got it, put it over the line. Nukovic down the left side, into the slot, one-time drive. Just missed the net from Pat Condon. David Pulowski's got it. He'll work it up the far boards. Could be a 2-on-1. Chimello is joined by Campbell. Chimello drops it off. Campbell in front is denied by Max Milasek. What a save. I'm not sure how that didn't end up in the net. There's a chance that it never ended up on Ben Campbell's stick to begin with. It was tough to tell. But a close call was denied by Milasek nonetheless. 13:49 to go in the second period. Up and down hockey here at the Macon Centreplex. 2-0 Huntsville is the score. Pulowski to take the offensive zone draw against Rob Durar. Clean win from Pulowski. Larry Smith put it on net from a tough angle. Goes out the side of the cage. Cameron from the near corner. Caleb Cameron will shovel it down to Pulowski. Kyle Sharkey can't clear it. Pulowski to Cameron. Right half wall, centered at Campbell. Slap shot, missed the net. Ben Campbell searching for his first goal with the Mayhem. Has had a couple of good chances here. Pulowski's one-timer missed the left post. And Kyle Sharkey has gotten it to Condon, and the Havoc have finally cleared the zone. Rob Durar got a pass that fortuitously made its way onto Tyler Piacentini's stick. Larry Smith to Ben Campbell. Slid it back to Smith behind his own cage. Up the left wing side, it sent Josh Cousineau. Wiley SPHL veteran put a shot on goal after entering the Huntsville zone. It was snagged by Max Millisek and no further play. 12:58 to go in period 2. Huntsville with a 2-0 edge. Max Millisek remains perfect in this game. Was a part of the Mayhem at one point technically, though he never did play a game here. His counterpart, Mike De La Verne, on the other hand, did play a few games here. He got the win 1 week ago against the Mayhem. Nolan Kaiser fed a pass up his own slot and out to the red line. It's backhanded by Trask, given away to Nukovic. Nukovic back up to Trask and across the Macon blue line. Back to Kaiser, slap pass into the front, hoping for Trask. It just missed his stick. A skillful attempt between the two of them. Now a 4-player scrum ensues in the near corner with Nukovic, Trask, Pirog, and Urban all involved. The Mayhem come away with it. Dylan Denemy shovels it into his own slot. The Mayhem with a 4-on-3. Cousineau just flings it into the right corner. And Millisek will just swipe one along over to Nolan Kaiser on the far half wall. Kaiser is pressured by Colton Walter, who's squeezed off. That was Sean Lynch, rather. Now it rolls along the blue line. Nolan Kaiser's pass goes off of Walter and in across the Macon line. Shibo put it in behind the net. Stewart will leave it to Urban. Zach Urban steps out in front of his own net. Fires a pass up to Colton Walter, who enters the Huntsville zone. He takes it wide. Backhands a pass to Timofeyev, who is well covered. And the Havoc come away on a 3-on-2. Chance Braid gave it across. Verbeek from his backhand centered it. Braid was dispossessed of it. Timofeyev flopped it back out into neutral ice. Alec Brandrup retreating to play it near his own blue line. Brandrup slings it out to Braid, who redirects it into the Macon zone. Oscar Arfelt's after it. He will put it behind his own net. Alex de Oliveira to his left. Caleb Cameron has hoisted it out, and it lands near the Huntsville blue line. It's scooped up by Alec Brandrup. Will flutter a pass over to Palmerville. Alex Palmerville up to Dave Nippard for Huntsville. Kyle Sharkey above the left circle. Pump fake and a shot blocked by Arfelt. Dangerously skittered its way in front of the Macon net, but David Pulowski was there to scoop it up and carry it out of harm's way. 11:02 to go in the second period. Huntsville leading 2-0. Pulowski steps in across the Huntsville line and fires. Routine blocker saved by Max Millisek. Now Chamello puts the pressure on. Palmerville is able to elude him. And here come the Havoc. Rob Durar down the right wing side, is off wing. Concedes possession to Ben Campbell, who has twisted it now to de Oliveira. And rather, that's Larry Smith in the far corner, who will rattle it to his left to the near corner for Ben Campbell. He gets it back. Smith up the adjacent side for Cameron, whose backhand passes outside of the reach of Chamello. Saverio Posa from the red line. Coughs up possession to Campbell, who goes down. Posa gets a second chance. This time puts it over the line. Piacentini going wide on Smith. The shot blocked by Smith and out of play. 10:17 to go in period 2. 2-0 the score in favor of Huntsville. Flying puck's been brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. There will be an offensive zone face-off upcoming for the Huntsville Havoc. It's going to be in the right circle of the Macon zone. And Cy Nukovic steps in against Stephen Pirog. A couple of guys who have competed against one another for a long time. Ultimately won by the one in the Navy sweater. In behind the net, centered in front. Nukovic just put it off the side of the cage. Close call for the Havoc. Nukovic will roll up to the deep slot and drop it off for a point shot by Condon that rattles wide. Now it's Saverio Posa. Couldn't do much with it. Urban took it off his stick, rather Pirog, and has just hoisted it out towards Denemy in the neutral zone. Shibo's back on it. Posa. Saverio Posa drops one into the left corner of the Macon zone. Zach Urban to Wojtek Zemlicka. Fires it out to center. It was blocked down by Pat Condon and never actually cleared the blue line. And now Scott Trask has it near half wall. He will drop it. Nukovic centers it. Nice pass. Quick shot. Blocked. And it's flown out of play. That was Posa putting the shot towards the net. That flying puck's been brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. 2-0 Huntsville. We're halfway through regulation. We'll be back in just a moment, folks. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on the Mayhem Broadcast Network.
Good news, Mayhem fans. The group outing package you know and love is back for the 2019-20 season. If you bring a group of 10 or more people, you receive discounted tickets at $13 a piece, reserved seating, free hats, t-shirts, or pucks for each member of your group, and an experience upgrade of your choosing. Set upgrades include the high five tunnel, bench buddies, a picture on the ice after the game, and much more. Just be sure to call our office at 478-803-1592 in advance, and we'll get you all squared away. Trying to plan out a night of fun for an upcoming birthday? Why not spend it right here with the Mayhem? The Tommy's Bakery and Cafe Birthday Suite is available right here at the Macon Centreplex for all home games during the 2019-20 season. The birthday suite comes chock full of benefits, including 12 tickets, a private suite area with a great view of the ice, donuts from Tommy's Bakery, a visit from Mac the Mascot, and a special present for the birthday child. All of this for just $250, with additional tickets available for $12 each. Visit MaconMayhem.com or call our office for more information.
Okay, well, welcome back, folks. 9:30 to go in period 2. The Mayhem trailing the Havoc by a 2-0 score. And the visitors set up shop for an offensive zone draw. Kaiser's quick shot redirected on goal. Stewart the kick save, and here come the Mayhem 2-on-2. Arfelton across the Huntsville blue line left it to Stepan Timofeyev, who's tripped up far half wall. And the puck skitters its way in front of Max Milasek, who attempts to shovel it out of the zone. Oliveira able to keep it momentarily, but not much longer than that. Braid out of the Macon blue line is stymied by a back-checking Oliveira. Will carry it left corner. Oliveira jams it up the near boards. He's getting some help now from Timofeyev, but the Mayhem can't clear it. Oliveira's got a good grasp on Chance Braid. Arfelt trying to win the puck back from Baxter Cantor, who's in behind the Huntsville, or rather the Macon net. And the Mayhem have it 3-on-2. Timofeyev put it over to the far side for Lynch. Back to Timofeyev, who skillfully recovered the puck and put it in front. Pinballs right to Lynch, near circle. John Lynch fires, stopped by Milasek. Glove save through the screen. Oh, and a fight breaks out in behind the Huntsville net. It's Stepan Timofeyev against Dave Nippard. Nippard didn't seem too interested. Timofeyev didn't seem to care. And the crowd absolutely loving that. Gotta love the heart by Stepan Timofeyev, who's quickly become a fan favorite here at the Macon Centreplex this season. And this crowd needed something to cheer about, folks, and Timo just gave them just that. Who knows? That could be the jolt that the Mayhem need. 8:33 into the second period. The Huntsville Havoc still leading by a 2-0 score. No goals have taken place in period 2. Both of them were in the opening 20-minute stanza. So Timofeyev and Nippard will both spend some time in their respective penalty boxes for the fight. Now, I'd be interested to see if there's something added to Timofeyev, because it seemed like he was certainly the more interested of the two parties in fighting, and you could certainly understand that. Typically the team that's down is a lot more inclined to fight than the team that's ahead, because typically the momentum gained favors the team that's down. That's just usually the way it goes. But Timofeyev didn't really seem like he was going to take no for an answer, and I don't think that it's going to cost him. It seems as though there was mutual agreement, so we will stay at 5 skaters aside as we have the entire game. There's not been a single non-5-on-5 at all. There's been no offsetting minors. There's been no power play for either side. So Dylan Denemy scrapping for a loose puck along the near corner boards. And Stephen Pirog drops it back down to Denemy, but he had his pocket picked by Alec Brandrup, who will wheel out to his right and fail to clear it, courtesy of Pirog, who couldn't go anywhere with it as he was surrounded by white sweaters. Ben Campbell shovels it up the near boards past Pirog into Huntsville ice, recovered by Brandrup again. Sends a diagonal pass to Rob Durar. We'll work it down the wall and into the Macon zone. Ben Campbell floats it out to the red line. Brandrup hammers it back in. Stewart halts it behind his net. Hayden Stewart spins it to the far corner. There to intercept it was Kyle Sharkey. Sharkey will put it behind the net. Rob Durar's got Sharkey, or rather, Piacentini behind him. And the pass for him finds Condon. Condon's shot redirected off a Macon stick, and Ben Campbell will try to carry it out of his own zone. Can't do it. Piacentini fires, tried to go short side, but Hayden Stewart was able to snag it and make the save. 7:27 to go in the second period, 2-0 in favor of Huntsville. The Havoc will get another offensive zone draw. Timofeyev and Nippert both in the penalty boxes for that fight that took place earlier. That was the first time at any point in this game that we've seen any action in the penalty boxes. David Pulowski besting Nukovic in the faceoff circle, but Nukovic stays on it left corner, sends it into the slot. Nobody was there except Keplinger, who sends it the other way for Macon. Keplinger put it over the blue line for Caleb Cameron, who delays. Cameron finds Zemlitska, who shoots. Just missed the left post. Zemlitska stays on it above the left circle. Gives it down to the corner for Keplinger. He will roll it in behind the net. Severio Posa is surrounded by a couple of Mayhem forwards, Pulowski and Cameron. Cameron pinned up to the end wall, however, doesn't have any room to maneuver. Pulowski with his stick in there trying to move it one way or the other. Posa, it seems like, just content to freeze the puck along the end wall. Jake Jackson allowing play to continue. Keplinger shovels it through the crease, and nobody was there on that near side. So here come the Havoc. Ryan Verbeek trying to split the defense. He drives, backhands it on net, stopped by Stewart. Into the near corner it bounces. And it's been secured and put up the wall for Mike Gemello. He will enter the Huntsville zone on side, but he was outnumbered. Nukovic now has it at center. He will twist it back to Shivo, who overskated it, but it's recovered by Beauvais, who followed up and dumped it into the far corner of the Macon zone. 6:12 to go in period two. 2-0 Huntsville. Here's Colton Walter. He's able to sidestep Chance Braid, but ultimately lost the puck before crossing the blue line. Cantor shoots. Stick save by Hayden Stewart. Baxter Cantor didn't get much on that shot. Walter the other way, 3-on-2. Sean Lynch left side, put it back in front. Walter collided. No penalty. Gemello will leave it for Lynch in the near corner. We'll roll it in behind, hoping for Walter. He collided with Stepan Beauvais. Now the two of them scrapping for a loose puck on the near side of the ice. Kaiser's in that scrap as well. A much better period from the Mayhem thus far, but have gotten nothing to show for it yet on the score sheet. Alex de Oliveira slides it across. Sean Lynch picks it up off the carom. Lynch throws a saucer pass up the ice on the tape for Oscar Arfelt, enters the zone, gives it to his left in the wheelhouse of Pirog, but had to kick it up to his stick. Carries behind the net, stick checked by Milasek, thrown back in front, and it's stopped by Milasek on the doorstep. Dylan Denemy was right in his kitchen. Milasek somehow able to locate that puck through all that pressure. 5:12 to go in period two. 2-0 Huntsville, your score. Dylan Denemy with pretty good size. He could certainly be effective parked in front of the opposing netminders, making life difficult for them. He's no stranger to going there either, and really battling for loose pucks and screening the goaltender. He doesn't mind doing it whatsoever. He goes into the right corner fighting for it with Brandrup. The Havoc have just cleared it out past the blue line. Cousineau to Larry Smith from the red line, flops it into the opposite corner on the near side of the ice. Brandrup put it behind the net and gets it quickly back from Alex Palmerville. Brandrup is given a big hit from Dylan Denemy. Now it's Piacentini entering Macon ice, centering for Durar. He's got a turn away from Cousineau. Right point Durar's shot is blocked, twisted wide of the goal by Alex Palmerville. And the Mayhem again have come away with it. Huge hit thrown along the half wall on the near side of the Macon zone by Larry Smith. In the meantime, Max Milasek plays it down to the ice and whips it out to center, and beyond that, Wojtek Zemlitska's in pursuit of it for Macon. Zemlitska gives it to Zach Urban, his defensive partner. Urban circles behind his own net, both teams changing personnel. Urban allows Pulowski to pass through. He will work it out to center ice for Caleb Cameron, who backhands it in behind the Huntsville goal line. Pulowski will give it to Keplinger in the near corner, dispossessed by Verbeek. Puck is sent out to Cameron in the near circle, and wedged out of there by John Shivo out to neutral territory. Zach Urban in front of the All-State bonding penalty box. You haven't said that too much tonight. Again, there's only been one fight. That's been the only penalty for either side so far tonight. Caleb Cameron jostling for possession with 3 Havoc. Shivo back to Condon. Condon up to Verbeek, who redirects it into the Macon zone and heads to the Huntsville bench. 3.5 to play in the second period. 2-0 Havoc, your score. There's been no scoring in the second period thus far. Urban goes up the middle for Cameron. Backhands a pass to his left. The shot from Zemlitska goes wide. Chamello forcing the issue. Severio Posa comes away with it and then spins in his own zone. Got plenty of ice to work with. Chamello begins to forecheck. He flushes Posa out from behind his own net. Severio Posa up to his right. Diagonal pass flutters its way onto Baxter Cantor's stick, and he's denied by Hayden Stewart. 2:54 to go in the second. We're going to head to our final media timeout of period 2. 2-0 Huntsville, your score. The Mayhem tipping the scales in the shots on goal department, but still trailing by a pair here at the Macon Centreplex. We'll be back in just a moment, folks. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on the SPHL Live and on YouTube.
Are you looking to raise some money for a cause and have a blast while doing it? The Mayhem would be happy to help you out through our fundraiser program, available for all home games throughout the season. You buy tickets from us for $10 each, you sell them for $15, and you keep the remaining $5 per ticket sold for whichever cause your heart desires. If you were to sell 50 tickets, for example, you would collect $250 for your fundraiser. Call our office at 478-803-1592 for more information.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Well, we've got just under 3 minutes remaining in period 2. The Havoc with a 2-0 lead over the Mayhem. Shots on goal favoring them as well, 23-13. It's been a better second period by Macon, but not enough to chip away at this deficit. They have really, for the past couple of weeks when facing Huntsville, have played from behind virtually the entire time. They got the better of the Havoc in their first meeting here this season back on October 19th. But since then, they've not been able to defeat them again. The Mayhem going to a defensive zone face-off. Scott Trask is bested by Colton Walter, and it's thrown off the glass by Oscar Arfelt and out to neutral ice. Walter right through center. Negotiates his way over the Havoc blue line. Puts on the brakes and centers. Chamello is hooked on the way through. A penalty will be called for the first time in this game. And Chamello went crashing into the net. Looks like Milasek is all right. Hooking is the call against Huntsville. Chamello had a very good scoring opportunity. So he was racing in right down the slot and got hooked by Scott Trask on the back check, and the SPHL's leader in penalty minutes is going to have a seat in the All-State Bonding penalty box. This will be Macon's first power play of the night and the first power play for either team for that matter. Macon coming into this game, a power play ranking 8th in the SPHL, 13.2% on the season. Huntsville with a top 3 penalty kill, 84.6%. Macon did, however, score on its only power play on Saturday, 6 days ago against Knoxville on Pack-the-Plex night. Zach Urban blew a howitzer by Joseph Murdaka from the deep slot. He's on the ice now for Macon. Pirog winning the offensive zone faceoff. Lynch sets up Urban at the line. The return is to Lynch. Outer hash marks of the near circle. Lynch will rattle it back towards the point. Never reaches Urban, but it's kept in the zone temporarily by Denemy, who fired it right off of Piacentini, who has just flown it in from center ice. It's kicked away by Stewart and picked up by Urban in his own zone. Zach Urban on the breakout. To his left for Dylan Denemy. Colton Walter, the Fairbanks, Alaska native. Shoulder shimmies into the Huntsville zone, puts it into the right corner for Lynch. Sean Lynch of Syracuse, New York, gives it down to the adjacent corner for Stephen Pirog, the Macon captain. Above the right circle, goal line, it's Lynch. Sean Lynch up to the blue line for Zach Urban. Tees it up, slap pass to Pirog, right circle, fires, save, rebound, side of the net. They jam away at the puck. Somehow it did not cross the goal line, and the Havoc remain up by a pair. I'm not sure how Milasek kept that one out, but he found a way. 1:14 to go here on this Havoc penalty kill. Good movement by the Mayhem on that man advantage, but Max Milasek doing the Lord's work in goal for the Havoc in this game. Josh Cousineau with a clean face-off win in the offensive zone. Timofeyev passes it to himself off the half wall, then delivers it behind the net. Caleb Cameron's got it. He makes a forehand pass to his left. Josh Keplinger's got it now. Arfelt at the blue line, slides it to Cousineau, left circle, back to Arfelt, skate to stick play to keep it in the zone, slides it to Keplinger in the right circle. His shot went off a leg and grazed it wide. Arfelt again at the blue line. He sets up Cousineau. He will switch with him. Arfelt in the deep slot from straight away. One-timer by Keplinger is on target and stopped by Milasek. Sliding over from his right to his left, was able to snag it with that glove. Unfortunate for Josh Keplinger. Most goaltenders, like I said earlier, folks, just the vast majority of them catch with their left glove. Milasek, an anomaly of sorts, catches right. And so that save was probably easier for him to make with a glove hand on the right side. Though there is less room on the glove side than the blocker side, most goaltenders prefer that their shooters pick their shots glove side. Most goaltenders are just more comfortable facing shots on their glove side. As the Havoc have just cleared the puck down from the defensive zone. 35 seconds remain on this Macon power play, brought to you by Wild Wings Cafe. Oscar Arfelt coughs it up. Piacentini in the slot. Nearly made the Mayhem pay with a shorty. Durar He's just thrown it all the way down into his own zone, trying to play a little keep away. Max Milasek out of his net, loses the puck, point blank chance, they score! Josh Keplinger from Caleb Cameron, a power play goal. The Mayhem are back to within one with 55 seconds to go in period two. That is Josh Keplinger's sixth goal on the season. And a power play strike that comes at a very opportune time. Time was winding down on it. That is Macon's second consecutive power play goal in as many opportunities. They went 1-for-1 last Saturday against Knoxville. And Josh Keplinger just made Max Milasek pay for the first mistake he's made all night. They're going to redo this face-off, I believe. I'm not sure if you can really fault Max Milasek too much on that. The puck was flung back with speed into the Huntsville zone by Rob Durar, if I'm not mistaken, just trying to kill some time off and play a little keep away, which you can't really blame him for. But the loose puck was sort of slowly skittering its way towards the outside of the trapezoid, and because of that trapezoid rule, Milasek had to wait all the while with Cameron pressuring him. Here's Cameron now in front of his own bench, put it in across the Huntsville line. Chimello sealed the boards. Colton Walter twisted into the slot. Campbell's got it. He fires, and a glove snag is made by Max Milasek with 20.9 remaining in period two. So Cameron was putting the pressure on Milasek at the edge of the trapezoid, the right side of the trapezoid. Milasek was sort of in two minds. You could tell he was weighing his decision. Should I go back into the net, or should I try to wait for this puck to reach me? And it looked like he really did win the race to the puck, but Cameron just pried it off his stick very quickly and centered it. Josh Keplinger was really in prime real estate with no Havoc players around him, and by the time Milasek could scramble back into position, it was too late. Josh Keplinger, a natural goal scorer, he's not going to miss that one very often. 2-1 Havoc, your score with 20.9 to go in the second period. Larry Smith from the left point will attempt to send it down the half wall. Steven Pirog is checked by Baxter Cantor. And now it's Pat Condon jamming away at it, trying to work it past the blue line, occupied by Smith. Smith whacks at it, comes away with the puck, steps into the slot. He will backhand it in below the goal line, and that'll just about do it for period two. So the Mayhem don't completely erase the deficit, but they do chip away at it. They trail now by just a goal. Some pushes and shoves exchanged between Baxter Cantor and Larry Smith after the final second period whistle. So 2-1 Havoc, now your score. It took the Mayhem certainly a good long while to put one past Max Milasek, who's been excellent tonight, but they eventually did it. at the tail end of their first and only power play up till this point in the game. Power plays have been few and far between for Macon in recent games, but in the last two, they've done a very good job of converting. They're 2 for their last 2 in as many games on the man advantage. Their penalty kill is also on a nice little roll. It's been perfect in its last 4 games, killing off 7 in that span. To Macon's credit, folks, they've also done a much better job staying out of the box of late. Their average penalty minutes per game has been steadily dropping really for the past couple of months. It's now down to 14.6 per game. For a while they were first in the league, then second, now they're third. So they've been steadily becoming a more disciplined team, which is a good sign for the Mayhem going forward, I would think. And they're now just a goal away from tying this game, which Huntsville dominated for a good long while, especially in the first period. In the second, the Mayhem certainly began tipping the scales in their favor, certainly in the shots on goal department. They outshot Huntsville 14-9 in the middle frame, coming to within 4. The Havoc 23-19 with an edge in shots on goal so far, 2/3 of the way through this game. Of course, we mentioned it in the pregame show, but Huntsville leads the league in shots for per game. They really are very good at controlling the pace of games and putting shots on net and testing opposing goaltenders. Folks, this season the Havoc averaging 36.3 shots per game. That's the best in the league. And in terms of allowing shots on goal, they're second best in the league, behind only Rod Aldoff and the Pensacola Ice Flyers. They average 27.8, which is second fewest shots per game allowed. The Mayhem ranking 5th in both departments, shots for and shots against per game. The Mayhem hoping in the third period to level the score and ultimately level the season series between themselves and the defending champs. The Havoc have won 2 out of 3 games against Macon this season. The Mayhem taking their first matchup against Glenn DeTullio and company back on October 19th of 2019. Jimmy Soper got the game-winning goal in that game. Kevin Etma was the winning goaltender. And that was a very low-shooting affair. Just 40 total shots on net. 22-18 were the shots in that contest. In this one, we've already had more than that through 2 periods than an entire 60 minutes back on October 19th. So it's been a fairly high shooting affair, as we sort of expected. A lot of transition hockey, a lot of counterattacks and odd man rushes, which for the most part, folks, if you're a hockey fan, that's what you want to see. You want to see a lot of scoring chances and up and down action. If you're a head coach, on the other hand, it might be a different story. I don't imagine Ryan Michael really wanted too many odd man rushes to be a big part of the game plan tonight, but when you play Huntsville, there's only really so much you can do to prevent that from happening. They're an extremely fast team, and their defensemen, folks, they are not afraid to join the rush and to pinch at very smart and opportune times. They don't, given how often their defensemen jump into plays, it's pretty remarkable how few, or how rarely, I should say, they end up on the wrong end of a 3-on-1 counterattack. They seem to only make those pinches when it's beneficial for their team, and they weigh the risk versus reward exceptionally well. Pat Condon, Alec Brandrup, Nolan Kaiser, all veteran defensemen. Severio Posa, he's played in all 35 games for the Havoc this season, leads the blue line in points. And a couple of newer blue liners, and Alex Pomerville and Stefan Beauvais have proven to be effective, sort of a third pair. And Nolan Kaiser was a big addition for the Havoc. He missed 9 games with an injury. He was on the 21-day IR, and he has returned just in time to play Macon. So an unfortunate turn of events for the Mayhem, but it's just how it goes sometimes. The Mayhem doing a good job in that second period of clawing back to within striking distance. 1 week ago when the Havoc were here, folks, they led for virtually the entire game from the 22nd point on after Tyler Piacentini opened the scoring. The Havoc did not concede the lead but once the entire rest of the game. So You got to credit them for hanging on to that lead, but also credit the Mayhem for never giving up. Despite being down that entire game, there was never a point at which it felt as though they were out of the fight. They just sort of just hung around and several times drew to within one to reduce Huntsville's deficit. Even though they were never able to tie it back up, they made it interesting and kept the game close until the very end with an empty net goal was tacked on to quell Macon's comeback attempts. But if history is any indication, folks, expect no quit in this Mayhem team for the closing 20 minutes of play. So we've got about 12 minutes or so of intermission time before we kick off period 3. I'm going to do one quick out-of-town scoreboard update before we take a timeout here on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. Like we said earlier, all 10 teams in the SPHL are in action this evening. The Birmingham Bulls are in Fayetteville this evening, trailing by a 5-1 margin. Jesse Kalecki and the Marksmen really having their way with the Birmingham Bulls tonight. The Mayhem will face the Marksmen on Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. Local time, Eastern time in Fayetteville. Stathis Sumalitas scored on the power play for Fayetteville. And Cannon Pieper, a former Birmingham Bulls, got a pair of goals against his old team for the Marksmen. Sumalitas also had an assist on Tim Keelick's insurance goal in period 3. So Sumalitas seemingly doing pretty well for his new squad. The Knoxville Ice Bears are in Roanoke tonight with a 2-0 lead over the Rail Yard Dogs. The Peoria Rivermen trailing in Evansville at the first intermission. The Thunderbolts with a 1-0 advantage. And Quad City Pensacola, the late game tonight, is officially underway, but just 5 minutes in, there's been no score up till this point. That has been your out-of-town scoreboard update, brought to you by Hampton Inn and Suites. We've got about 11 minutes or so, folks. So in the meantime, until we come back, please enjoy this segment from our archived version of our last episode of Line Change, the Macon Mayhem Coaches Show with Mayhem head coach Ryan Michael, coming your way on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. 2-1 Huntsville, your score through 2 periods of play here at the Macon Centreplex. Thanks so much for being here tonight. As always, we really appreciate you taking time out of your Tuesday to come enjoy episode 12 of season 2 of Line Change with Mayhem head coach Ryan Michael. Our player guests joining us tonight are defensemen Oscar Arfelt and Wojtek Zemlicka. Let's hear it for these two gentlemen. Also, I wanted to congratulate those of you in attendance tonight who were a part of history on Saturday. Those of you who were in attendance at the Mayhem game were a part of the largest crowd in Mayhem franchise history. So give yourselves a round of applause for that accomplishment. It was an absolutely incredible atmosphere, and I think I speak for everyone when I say this, but it truly did help the team in all senses of the word, and we're going to get into all that here on this show. In fact, that's the first question I wanted to ask you guys up here on the panel. All 3 of you, I'd like an answer from. This past Saturday, like I just said, it was the largest crowd we've ever had at a Mayhem game in franchise history. What was it like to play in front of that crowd on Saturday?
It was pretty cool. Being a part of this organization as a player and a coach for the 5 years, and being fortunate to win the whole thing, and having more than 2,000 of what we had in the championship game that year. I mean, it was crazy. Coming out for warm-ups to go to do the coaches talk and seeing the amount of people and just watching it, keep coming, and it seemed like it never ended. It was really cool, and certainly it helped our guys. We were battling a little bit of a bug kind of going around, myself included. So, just the energy that, that crowd created for us on the bench and on the ice certainly kind of got us over the hump, for those 3 periods. So it was great.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. It's always fun playing in front of a big crowd. It's gives us a little extra energy, a little extra spark that's sometimes needed. And just hearing the guys cheer on you, it really, like after a long shift or something, it really does make a difference. You kind of feel invincible out there with all the help, and so it was a great atmosphere, and it was only my second home game, so if we get anything close to that, it would be amazing for the rest of the year.
Yeah, it's as they both of them said, it's very nice to play in front of the crowd like this. I've been here for about 8 weeks, and this was for sure the largest crowd I played in front of this season. And a lot of guys were struggling with sickness, injuries, and it just get us going, and it feels like unstoppable out there when the crowd cheers.
Yeah, absolutely. There really couldn't have been too much more of a second wind with the flu and the illnesses that were going around the team than having that many people in attendance on Saturday. So, Coach, I wanted to ask you about that and kind of segue into what we're talking about here for next weekend. Some coaches kind of believe in this more so than others, I would say, but do you believe it's possible to really harness that momentum that was generated from Saturday night's win and kind of roll with it heading into this 3-game weekend we have coming up?
Yeah, I think so. For me, it's confidence inspiring, and just the way we played, and especially defensively, I felt like in the second and especially the third, we kind of, shut them down for good bits of time, and that's a team that wants to circle around the ice and gain speed and have a bunch of chances off entries, and their D are going to join the rush. And for the most part, I felt like we forced them to get away from their game and dump pucks in and try to go retrieve them. And that's certainly the way we have to play moving forward, and understand that it's not always the easiest way or the most exciting way is to make teams earn it all over the ice. But we did that for most of that night, and certainly the confidence that we can take away from that as a group, and that we can play that way and force teams away from their game. And we did a great job kind of on the counterattack and scoring off the rush against Knoxville Saturday. So certainly taking that confidence and maybe that style of play over to this weekend is certainly something I believe we can do.
Yeah, and once we go on the road, both of you guys as players know exactly what it's going to take to play against your former teams. Wojtek, with you, it'll be on Saturday against Roanoke, and then Oscar with you on Sunday against Fayetteville. And Oscar, you've played now a couple of games with the Mayhem. You've got a few under your belt, and since you've arrived, how do you feel that you've adapted to Coach Michael's system and to the way that we play here?
Well, I would like to say myself pretty well, I'd say, at least. I like it. Gives us a lot of freedom within the systems to kind of like do our thing, try different things. That makes sense. But we have our base points where we focus on defensively, offensively, and all that stuff, and then within those frames, it's kind of up to us to create and stay disciplined. So I really like it. I would call him a player's coach, which I always prefer to playing for, and he's played a ton himself, so it's he knows what it takes to win games, and you can relate to his knowledge and all that stuff. So it's always easier to play for a coach like that.
Sure. And guys, I don't know if you're familiar with this scenario exactly what happened with Oscar, but the game before he was traded here, there was an issue with the Zamboni up in Fayetteville. The very next game he plays, there was an issue with the boards here in Macon in a different city with a different team. So I thought it was worth asking him before the game on Friday if he felt like he was cursed. He said he didn't think that he was cursed, but if it happened again on Friday, then he might reconsider. So, Oscar, is it good now feeling that the curse has officially been lifted?
Yeah, no, it was pretty nice, because it would have been a tough selling point for me for the rest of my life, knowing this guy just breaks the ice wherever he goes, So, it definitely felt good to play a full 60-minute game.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Okay, Wojtek, the next question I have is for you. You were teammates with Colton Walter up in Roanoke for a good little while. You got to know each other pretty well. How did it feel to not only witness him scoring that hat trick on Saturday, but also to have a big part in it, getting a couple assists on the board as well?
Yeah, so I would start with, I already played with Colton Walter 3 years ago in Mississippi. We were already roommates as well. And past season in Roanoke we played together, and this year I started in Roanoke. We were roommates as well, so I know him very well. He's a nice guy, great hockey player, and I'm very happy we brought him in. And I knew what he can do, and he proved it. And hopefully it just keeps rolling, and we keep winning games.
Yeah. Now, for those of you who might not know, that is a Czech accent that you're hearing. Wojtek, I wanted to ask you about that specifically because, in the game programs, you stated that your fun fact was that you love to cook. So are there any recipes that you consider your signature, anything from your homeland in the Czech Republic that you brought over here that you might be willing to share?
I don't think I have any recipes. I don't like back home we don't really go eat out as it's usual here. Mostly we eat home. So I'm used to cooking and I got some recipes from my mom. What I cook, but most of it's just, simple food, simple meals.
Simple meals.
It's nothing crazy.
Well, hey, maybe talk to the folks here at the Rookery. They might give you a part-time job after the show. See, he's got you. All right, guys, that's all the questions I have. The people that I normally have helping me out with the crowd mic aren't here tonight, so I'm going to step down and pass the crowd mic down. Debbie, if you don't mind holding on to it first. Okay. I appreciate that. The only thing we ask when you ask your questions is please do so into this microphone here. We just want to make sure that we get everyone's questions heard and then play it back later on our archived version on YouTube later on.
I was just wondering if you could explain that fiasco that happened when Urban came out the box where we didn't have enough players on the ice, or we should have had enough players on the ice.
I knew this one was coming. So that whole thing happened. He steps out of the box. I didn't watch the play, but from what I was told, he played it when his feet were still in the box, which is obviously a penalty. So the linesman had came over to me telling me the situation, and at no point explained that I needed to put anybody in the box. So we start the play. They drop the puck, 2 minutes expires, and we have no one coming out of the box. So I'm sending somebody over the boards, and the play's going on. So the linesman's coming up and down the benches telling me I can't put somebody on the ice. And I'm yelling back that you didn't tell me I had to put somebody in the box, so I didn't. So that was whatever seconds, at which point Keplinger, I think it was, jumped over the boards, and they blew it dead. Yeah, I wasn't happy. I wish I had an assistant because I was getting to the point during that of losing my cool. So, but, that it happens, I guess, and we'll move on.
Do you know what caused the fight between Urban and he went in the box, and they came back out and started fighting again?
Do I know why, or no? I mean, they're probably talking in the box or something to each other. I'm not really sure.
I could have sworn there was something involving Piacentini as he was skating by. Urban stepped out, but I didn't get a great look at it myself.
My question is for Oscar. As a kid, you briefly played with two guys I actually watched last night, William Nylander and Dmitry Timofeyev. And I was wondering if you remembered playing with them and if there was anything that kind of set them apart that kind of signified they were good enough to go to the show even that young.
Yeah, I feel for both of them, especially William. You could kind of tell from an early age that this kid had something special. I mean, he played with me. I'm 2 years older than him. So I played with him when I was 17 and he was 14, 15. And he was already standing out playing with us. And just his poise with the puck, his skating ability and his shot. And I mean, it certainly helps having a dad that played 15 seasons in the NHL too. So he definitely got homeschooled pretty well. But no, you could tell from an early age that he's going to be something special.
Okay, well, welcome back, everybody. We hope you enjoyed that excerpt from our last episode of Line Change with Mayhem head coach Ryan Michael, the Macon Mayhem Coaches Show, which airs every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. from 6 to 6:30 roughly at the Rookery at 543 Cherry Street in downtown Macon. If you have the chance to stop by one of these nights on a Tuesday to enjoy some local handcrafted Mayhem food, by all means do so. We'd love for you to get a chance to meet the Mayhem players, staff, get to know their personalities a little bit better off the ice. We'll always bring 2-player guests with us every single week, so we'd love to have you again every Tuesday night from 6 to 6:30 p.m. The line change at the Rookery at 543 Cherry Street in downtown Macon. 2-1 Huntsville the score through 40 minutes of play. The Mayhem doing a really good job in that second period of tipping the scales in their favor. They're now down by just a goal and trail the Havoc by just 4 shots on net. After a first period that was really controlled by Huntsville, this is now a game once again. Alex de Oliveira sends it over to Oscar Arfelt, quickly gets it back and sends it just wide of the net, so icing is called against the Mayhem. That icing has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. And that shot towards the net was taken from the opposing blue line, just wide of the right post. The Mayhem going to a defensive zone face-off. Stephen Pirog winning it, and Alex de Oliveira drops it to Oscar Arfelt, tapped along for Cousineau in front of the left boards. His pass was intended for Denemy, trying to make a break for it. Condon read it like a book, and now here comes Severio Posa the other way. Posa gave it away to de Oliveira, couldn't find a way to slip the puck through to Cousineau. Denemy puts it up the gut for Pirog, who was well defended. Pirog will just backpedal and deal it on to Oscar Arfelt. Arfelt up to Cousineau, springs Pirog and across the Huntsville blue line. The Macon captain will shovel it in behind the Huntsville net, put the pressure on. Now it's Piacentini receiving the pass up the wall. Larry Smith to Cimello. Cimello turns and feeds the puck up to Colton Walter on the right wing side. He fires a bullet right into the glove of Max Milasek, who kept his glove up to make that save. We're 1 minute into this third period. The Havoc still with a 2-1 lead. This game has not been tied since the 2:21 point of the first period. The Mayhem going to an offensive zone draw to try to change that. Colton Walter in the far circle of the Huntsville zone. But it's won by Nukovic. Nolan Kaiser's got it for the Havoc. Nukovic with a touch pass across the width of the ice. Shivo put it across the red line. The Mayhem back in control as Campbell flutters it up the wall or off the wall. Cimello's got it. He will try to enter the Huntsville zone. He did so onside, but was quickly pickpocketed. Here comes Trask, who will pop one into the far corner. It's raced after by Nukovic. Rolled along the end wall. Shivo put it back behind the net. Beyond Trask. Nukovic far half wall. Back in behind again. Shivo defended by Campbell. Steps in above the circle, will drop it off at the blue line. Nolan Kaiser, left point, long shot, ricochets wide, right corner. Shivo banks it off the end wall. Nukovic has it, goal line, far side. Outer hash marks now, right circle, rather left circle. He deposits it behind the net. Shivo pokes the puck free, will roll it back up to the blue line, and Alec Brandrup couldn't hold it in the zone. Might have actually been a break for Huntsville. The Mayhem might have had a 2-on-1 the other way, had that whistle not blown. Offside called against the Havoc, and the face-off will take place in front of the Macon bench with 18:03 to go in the third period. 2-1, Huntsville is your score, with contributions from Kyle Sharkey and Ryan Verbeek, the latter of whom currently has the game-winning goal if the score does not change. Zach Urban has thrown it out to the red line. Brandrup will deliver it back in. 100-foot shot is on goal, and Stewart will just hang on to it in his crease. 17:53 to go in the third. 2-1 Huntsville. Hope you're enjoying the broadcast tonight, folks. On whatever medium that you're tuning into this game from, whether it's SPHL Live or on YouTube, we appreciate having you with us. Havoc winning an offensive zone face-off and punching the quick shot away is Hayden Stewart on the bid coming from Alec Brandrup. Now it's Wojtek Zemlitska tying his man Chance Braid up in the far corner. The puck flutters its way back there, and Braid will swing it back in behind the net, and along it goes to the near corner. Keplinger able to work it up to Pulowski, who can't clear it past the vigilant stick of Chance Braid. He's pickpocketed by Cameron. Now Keplinger is checked by Nippard. Here comes Cameron down the right side. Gets around a check, cuts the net, and fires. Milasek is down with a butterfly save. Boy, Cameron came into that zone with a full head of steam down his off wing, the right side. It's really the only position he hasn't played this season for the Mayhem is right wing, and he looked like a right winger on that play nevertheless. Sort of passed the puck to himself off the half wall, entering the zone, and lifted the stick of his opponent on the way through and knocked it out of his hands when he had the puck. The referee's a lot more likely to give you the benefit of the doubt when you have the puck on your stick than when you don't in terms of those slashing calls. Oscar Arfelt out at the red line will drop it back to Alex de Oliveira. He will pedal back with it behind his own net and backhand it off the boards and out into neutral ice. Steven Pirog ahead for Denemy across the blue line. Back to Pirog, quick 2-on-1, joined by Cousineau, is forced wide. Good defensive play by Pat Condon to take the real estate away from the Macon captain, Steven Pirog. Now Condon's got it again on his backhand, shovels it the width of the ice, bounces off the near half wall. De Oliveira pinches, but Josh Cousineau is back to cover a lot of ice for him and play it around to Oscar Arfelt. Denemy swats it in from the red line. Cleared out quickly by Milasek over the stick of Durar, all the way down, icing the call against Milasek and the Havoc. That icing call has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. The Mayhem will go to an offensive zone draw, trailing by a goal, 2-1 your score, with 3:25 having expired in this third period thus far. The ensuing faceoff will take place in the left circle, the near side of the Huntsville zone. Colton Walter steps in to take the draw, but he's bested by Durar, and now Sharkey has cleared it. Out to Campbell at center. Campbell to Smith. Smith, red line up to Lynch, blue line. He tries to center it for Walter. Quick shot from Timofeyev, accelerated by Walter, stopped by Milasek, and the puck flutters its way off the half wall on the near side. Smith pinches in, jars it loose. Timofeyev trying to shake away from Durar, goes down. Durar loses his stick, stays on Timofeyev, who will set up Campbell, blue line, snapshot, waffle boarded away by Milasek, stays in play. Timofeyev cuts off the clearing attempt. A stickless Sharkey misses him. Timofeyev, right circle, put it over, whacked on goal, stopped by Milasek. Good lateral save by the Huntsville netminder. So it was actually Severio Posa who lost his stick, and Kyle Sharkey did the right thing and handed him his. The hierarchy goes, if you're not familiar, if a goaltender loses his stick, the defenseman's supposed to give him his, and then if a defenseman loses his stick, the forward's supposed to give him his. And that's exactly what Kyle Sharkey did. Alert play by the Huntsville veteran. They have just dumped the puck in below the Macon goal from center ice. No icing. Larry Smith rolls it to his left for Caleb Cameron. Cameron gives it up to Mike Chimello. Pulowski stick handling his way through neutral ice and across the Huntsville blue line. His pass was intended for Campbell. Went off a Havoc stick and bounced out to center. It's been dumped in behind the Macon net. Hayden Stewart's got it. Dishes it to Wojtek Zemlitska from his own corner. Up to Pulowski. He springs Chimello with a lot of speed across the Huntsville line. He's watched by Brandrup. The shot from Chimello sails wide of the right post. And John Shivo has just hoisted it off the glass down into Macon ice. Will this be far enough? No. The linesman waving off a potential icing call. 15:08 to go in period 3. 2-1 Huntsville, your score. Zach Urban out to center. Coughs up possession to Chance Braid. And now it's played by Alex Pomerville. He was harassed by Cousineau. Knocks the puck free, but Braid is there to secure it for the Havoc. Cousineau stays on it. Excellent persistence by Cousineau. Sets up Arfelt for a drive. That is handled by Max Milasek. We're going to head to our first media timeout of period number 3. 2-1 Huntsville remains your score, but the Mayhem threatening for the tying goal. We'll be back in just a moment, folks. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. 2-1 Huntsville, your score, with 14:49 to go in period 3.
Are you looking to raise some money for a cause and have a blast while doing it? The Mayhem would be happy to help you out through our fundraiser program, available for all home games throughout the season. You buy tickets from us for $10 each, you sell them for $15, and you keep the remaining $5 per ticket sold for whichever cause your heart desires. If you were to sell 50 tickets, for example, you would collect $250 for your fundraiser. Call our office at 478-803-1592 for more information.
So another offensive zone draw for Macon. Steven Pirog in the far circle of the Huntsville zone to do the honors against Dave Nippert from Huntsville. One of just 2 players on the Havoc to take a seat in the penalty box tonight, and that was due to a fight with Stepan Timofeyev, which one could argue turned the momentum. De Oliveira point shot from above the circle, rather. It was stopped by Milasek. not much of a screen set up. Oliveira decided to take his chances. He really had two choices there. He could have shot when he did, which is what he did, or he could have waited a couple of seconds longer before shooting, waiting for some traffic, which would have made things more difficult for Milasek, but at the same time would have made it more difficult for him to get his shot through and on net. Huntsville winning the defensive zone draw. Palmerville blows a tire. Oscar Arfelt with a good pinch. Steps wide, right corner, put it on goal from a tough angle. Stopped by Milasek. Piacentini one-hands it to his left. Baxter Cantor down the left wing, who's watched by Pirog. Back skating in Arfelt's stead. It's thrown on net, stopped by Stewart. Now Cousineau's got it for Macon. Oscar Arfelt bounces the puck out to his own blue line. Dylan Denemy is joined by Pirog on a 2-on-2. The two of them crisscross. Denemy hangs onto it and fires. And that puck rocketed wide of the net. Severio Posa has just cleared it all the way down. This will be an icing called against the Havoc. 14:07 to go in the third. 2-1 Huntsville, your score. The Mayhem have not been able to tie this game back up since going down by a pair in the first period. They have been slowly and steadily working their way towards achieving that goal. Timofeyev, the man who fought tonight for the Mayhem, is out there. Offensive zone draw in the left circle of the Huntsville zone. Walter and Lynch on the ice as well for Macon. The puck drops, the Havoc win the face-off, and it's going to be Severio Posa down the right wing. We'll pump one behind Larry Smith. The veteran Mayhem defenseman turns back to get it from his own corner. Good body possessioning by Coulter, but he coughs up possession in doing so. In front of the net, Verbeek had his stick slashed out of his hands. The Mayhem catch a break. No slashing penalty is called. And it looks like they're just caught on an offside, so the whistle blows. And Ryan Verbeek looked to the referee tonight, Jake Jackson, wondering why a penalty wasn't called. But you got to tip your cap to Jackson, folks. He is really, from the very start of this game, established the way he's going to call this. He is trusting the players for the most part, and not calling anything unless it's extremely blatant. There's only been one penalty called, one minor penalty called the entire game, and it was a very obvious penalty. Mike Cimello had a semi-breakaway to the goal and was hooked from behind on the way to the net. Ryan Verbeek can't clear it past the blue line. It's put back in behind the net. Slow puck rolls to Zemlitska, whose shot is blocked. Cameron tries to turn in center for Pulowski, but puck wouldn't settle down for him. Now the 10s come together in the far corner. Kaiser pinning Cameron up to the wall. Ryan Verbeek's got it, and he slips a pass through. Here come the Havoc. They could get an odd man rush near the end of a shift. Bray turns the corner, cuts to the net, forehand. Can't finish it off. Excellent move. He drove right around Wojtek Zemlitska. Hayden Stewart made a nice save with his pads. Now it's been lofted down the ice into the right wing corner. Keplinger is after it, and he throws his man down to the ice. A Harrison's body shop collision. That was Stefan Beauvais, the recipient of that hit from Macon's lone goal scorer tonight, Josh Keplinger. Alec Brandrup rolls one in behind the Macon net. Hayden Stewart is there. He will dish it to Alex de Oliveira, who stops and feeds it up to Josh Cousineau. Cousineau back behind his own net for de Oliveira. 12:30 to go in period 3, 2-1 in favor of Huntsville. Stephen Pirog gets on his horse, gallops in across the blue line, fakes as though he were going to drop it to Denemy, then centers it, speared aside by Milasek. Not enough Mayhem players crashing the net there to make that an effective play. It's been banked off the boards. Shibo into the middle for Scott Trask. The Huntsville captain sets up Nukovic, gets a return from him, fires a one-timer on goal, knocked aside by Stewart. It's Oscar Arfelt who will whack one up the boards, takes a crazy hop off of, looked like the door to the bench, the Macon bench. Now it's Larry Smith in his own zone, fed it across to his D partner Ben Campbell. Colton Walter trying to get it out of his own zone, couldn't do so, courtesy of Rob Durar. The Mayhem will try the other direction. Sean Lynch gives it to his right for Ben Campbell, who steps around Tyler Piacentini and enters the Huntsville zone with speed, but without the puck. It flutters over the blue line. Colton Walter unable to hold it in the zone. Walter will now step in across the Huntsville line and take it wide on Severio Posa. He turns. Walter is held up by Posa. Penalty forthcoming against Huntsville, and the Mayhem going back to the power play for just the second time tonight, but they've converted on both of their previous two man advantages going back to last game on Saturday. Posa not happy with the call. He's had his argument with Jake Jackson's not going to win it. Posa to the Allstate bonding penalty box. And Pat Condon having a word with Jackson as well. On a normal night, I would think, no question, that's a penalty. The way that this game's been called, things have been very lenient. I'd say that was borderline. But the Mayhem will go to the power play for the second time tonight and try to level this thing up. 2-1 in favor of Huntsville with 2 minutes remaining on Macon's second power play of this game. It gets underway. Arfelt from the left point. Sent it over the net. Cameron in the far corner. Got Keplinger nearby. The pass was intended for Arfelt, intercepted by Piacentini, who will skate it the other way. Nukovic abandons him, goes to the bench, and a shot from Piacentini is dealt with by Stewart. Arfelt puts it behind the Macon net. Josh Keplinger's got it for Macon. We'll drop it. Oscar Arfelt with a head fake, swerves his way through center, slices in across the Huntsville blue line, loses the puck and gets taken down. And the Havoc have just cleared it all the way down. Here's Caleb Cameron in his own zone. Behind the Macon cage. Cameron up to Stepan Timofeyev. Had 4 assists last weekend. He flies in to the Huntsville zone. The puck slides its way into the left corner. Timofeyev puts the pressure on to try to force the Havoc to move the puck. Sean Lynch comes away with it. Looks to the back, he's got Urban. Sean Lynch puts on the brakes above the right circle and spins. Sets up Urban in the deep slot. Urban to Denemy, left circle, back to Urban. Urban tees up a slap pass to Lynch at the bottom of the far circle. Sean Lynch up to Urban, one-timer, stopped by Milasek. Trying to score a carbon copy power play goal from last week. Timofeyev right half wall, leaves it Lynch up to Urban at the blue line. He's got Denemy left circle but returns it to his right. Timofeyev across, hoping for Denemy. Broken up by the Havoc, and they have scrambled to whack it out past Urban in the blue line and down into Macon territory. 30 seconds, 9:51 to go in period 3. The Mayhem still trailing by a goal. 2-1 your score, 25 now to go in this Wild Wing Cafe power play. Macon's second of the game, they converted on their first. Stephen Pirog down the left side, steps into the slot, does a head fake, goes into the right circle. Now takes it into the right corner. And the Havoc have just cleared it past their own blue line and out into neutral ice. Larry Smith is there. Ben Campbell now. Smith gets the return from him. Stewart tapping his stick, signifying the end of this Huntsville penalty. Sharkey down the right side. Turns and fires it towards the net. It was blocked by his own man, Rob Durar. Mike Cimello can't clear it past his own blue line. Blocking the clearing attempt was Durar. Forced to make a blocker save was Stewart, but he did so. It's blasted into the far corner by Nolan Kaiser and played by Ben Campbell with 9 minutes remaining in the third. The Mayhem dropping their second power play of this game. They are now 1 for 2 on the night. Puck's been hoisted off the glass and out towards the opposing blue line. Alex de Oliveira backpedals and shovels it to his D partner, Oscar Arfelt, who finds Keplinger. Keplinger sidestepped Shivo, but ultimately lost the puck to him. Good recovery by de Oliveira. And the puck is loose in the slot, scooped up by Cimello, who will skate it out of harm's way for Macon. Cimello backhands the puck off the boards. Kaiser put it off the side of the net. It was redirected. It looked like off the outside of the post by Verbeek. Now it's Nukovic wheeling into the top of the left circle. His shot denied by Stewart. Makes a second and a third save from point-blank range. Verbeek and Shivo were both there for the rebound opportunities on Nukovic's shot, and Hayden Stewart stopped them both. The Mayhem having difficulty clearing the zone here. Stefan Beauvais puts it in front. It rolls out to the far half wall. Dave Nippard rolls it back behind the net, and Shivo's still on the ice. A long shift for him and pretty much every Mayhem player out there. They're still unable to clear the zone, and they are absolutely exhausted. De Oliveira can barely skate, but he's able to go behind his own net to roll it aside, but not out of the zone. Caleb Cameron, fresh off a line change, backpedals, wins the puck, and has just flown one out to neutral ice. It is settled by Severio Posa and given to Pat Condon. 7:38 to go. Still a 2-1 Huntsville advantage. Caleb Cameron looking to change that. Joined on a 2-on-1 with Walter. Walter gets the pass. He's in. He shoots. Glove snag by Milasek. Highway robbery by the Huntsville goaltender. Colton Walter with a red-hot stick. He had a hat trick on Saturday against Knoxville, and a couple of his goals looked exactly like that one, folks. But Max Milasek coming up huge with a glove snag on Macon's leading goal scorer, Colton Walter. That was a nice pass by Caleb Cameron, who nearly tallied his second assist of this game. He had the lone assist on Keplinger's power play goal and nearly got a second one on what would have been Colton Walter's 14th goal of the season. I beg your pardon, his 16th goal this season. So the marksman held on. 5-1 the final in Fayetteville tonight over the Birmingham Bulls. Stathis Sumalides with a goal and an assist in that game. Evansville Thunderbolts leading the Peoria Rivermen by a 1-0 score early in period number 2, which elicited a little round of applause from the Macon Centreplex. 7:29 to go in the third. 2-1 Huntsville remains your score. Shots favoring them 32-30. Colton Walter, who just had a great chance to tie this game, will now take an offensive zone face-off. Pat Condon comes away with it with a full head of steam out of his own zone. Hot pass out to his right. Diagonally sets up Durar and across the blue line. Piacentini receives it from him and sails it over the boards, or rather over the crossbar. Here come the Mayhem 2-on-1. It's again Cameron, right side. He fires, stopped by Max Milasek. This time Cameron was joined by Sean Lynch on a 2-on-1. Another Huntsville pinch. That did not cost them. Can't remember if I fully finished my point from earlier, folks, but a big part of the reason why Huntsville is not afraid to pinch, there are several reasons for it. They have trust in their forwards to back check hard. They have trust in themselves, their defensemen do, of when is and when isn't a good time to pinch. But I think most importantly, they have confidence in their goaltender. Max Milasek has been one of the best goalies in the league all season. And he has truly bailed the Havoc out in a couple of those so far tonight. Zach Urban from the red line. Protecting the puck. Pirog to Denemy above the left circle. The return to Pirog. Back to Denemy. Outer hash marks near side. It's given back to the right point. Urban long shot. Redirected into the glove of Max Milasek, who looks like he cannot be beat right now, folks. It's leading to some frustrated fans here at the Macon Centreplex. That is for sure. That glove side has been outstanding for Milasek, particularly here in this third period. Pirog to take the face-off against Rob Durar, the former Reading Royal, the league's leader in shots on net. Loves to set up shop along the right circle of Huntsville power plays, but we haven't seen that set up at all tonight. The Mayhem have been extremely disciplined, have not taken a single minor penalty. Puck is now in the far corner of the Macon zone. Zach Urban with Kyle Sharkey scrapping for possession. Sharkey puts it down to his stick. Urban all over him, trying to move it. He does. Pirog scoops it up and begins to wheel out of his own zone. He's joined by Kuzno on his left, Denemy on his right. Denemy will pump one down into the far corner. Puck's been cleared by the Havoc and out to center. Sharkey drops it. Piacentini gallops across the Macon line. Shovels it behind the net. 6:07 to go here in period 3. 2-1 Huntsville. Josh Keplinger slaps it up to Dylan Denemy, who's near the end of a shift. Will just swivel out to the red line and punch it into the right corner of the Huntsville zone. Kaiser is back there first. Nolan Kaiser leaves it for Stefan Beauvais. Beauvais sent it to nobody in particular, but the Havoc are able to get it out of their own zone. And the puck went off the stick of Baxter Cantor in the neutral zone and flew out of play. Looked like somewhere into section 123, so that'll be a souvenir for a lucky fan. Inside of the final 6, 5:44 to go. There have been several cases in this period alone in which it seems as though the Mayhem should have equalized this game, but they've not been able to do it. Thanks in no small part to the efforts of Huntsville's goaltender Max Milasek. Keplinger rims one around the end wall. Milasek with his stick will send it out to his right. Turned over, front of the net. Pulowski tipped it on goal. Milasek a butterfly save. And it's been shoveled up to Chance Braid, right half wall, who will weave his way through center ice and enters the Macon zone. Baxter Cantor is caught on the back check. The Mayhem trying to pry the puck loose. David Pulowski put it to his own blue line. Stepan Timofeyev wiggles his way in across the Huntsville line. Still has the puck on his stick. Left circle. He waits. He centers it. Blast from Oliveira. Blocked by Scott Trask. Now it's Colton Walter going into the far corner to get it. He wins possession. He spins. Walter protects the puck. Colton Walter still protecting the puck. Sending it to the line. Oscar Arfelt had to just whack at it. And it's taken away by Chimello down low. He's got Cameron with him. The saucer pass. Cameron just missed the net. Wide of the left post. That was another great opportunity that the Mayhem could not take advantage of. Cameron left point, long shot, missed the left post. The Karam finds Walter in the far corner. Severio Posa beats him to it. Chimello is in there as well, with Pat Condon all over him. He's not able to really maneuver down there. A 5 or 6 player scrum taking place near the Ortho Georgia Orthopedic Specialists dashboard. And Chance Braid lurking around the perimeter of that scrap. Finally, the Havoc end up with it, roll it up the boards on the far side. They have chipped it out to center. Oscar Arfelt pedals back to retrieve possession for the Mayhem, but it's the Havoc who come away with it and dump it in. 4 minutes to go. At our next whistle, we'll head to our final media timeout of this hockey game here. Zach Urban backhands the puck up to Stephen Pirog, who sends it up the right wing side. Dylan Denemy trying to gain some speed. He's defended by Palmerville. Denemy into the slot for Lynch. Lynch's pass. Zemlitska held it at the blue line just barely. The Mayhem keep it in the zone. Denemy above the left circle. Centered it. Pirog well covered. Denemy's back on it. He will twist it behind the Huntsville net. Milasek will allow Brandrup to play it. He is checked by Lynch. Brandrup goes along the boards with it far side. The Havoc reverse things and sent it to the near side. Shivo is able to hoist it off the glass and out to neutral ice. Chance Braid taken down by Zemlitska near the blue line. Huge hit thrown by Denemy right in front of the audience here at the bottom of section 110. Denemy just laid out Alec Brandrup, and here comes Urban across the blue line. Lost it, but it's recovered by Timofeyev, who slipped into the slot, lost the puck. Shivo with it. He has cleared the blue line. 3:03 to go. Gotta wonder how much longer Ryan Michael goes before pulling his goaltender. Timofeyev blocks the clearing attempt, but it bounced off his skates and out to center. Timo's got it again, and across the Huntsville line, cuts into the slot and fires, blocked by a Havoc stick. Bounces to the far corner. Pulowski is there for Macon. David Pulowski dips the shoulder, goes to the front of that, turns and fires, fought off by Milasek. Far corner, it's Josh Keplinger. Keplinger steps into the deep slot, has the puck still, fires, redirected wide of the goal, shot, score! David Pulowski has tied the game! It's 2-2 with 2.5 to play! The Mayhem were absolutely humming, folks, for the course of the last 2, 3, 4 minutes. You just had a feeling that this was coming. Max Milasek, despite all his brilliance, was unable to completely weather that storm. And the Mayhem, after several shifts of consistent hard work in the offensive zone, chance after chance going by the wayside, have finally gotten all that hard work to pay off and have equalized this game with 2.5 remaining in period 3. We still have not had our final media timeout because after the goals scored, there is none. At our next whistle, if we get one, there will be a media timeout. That will be our final one of this hockey game. Oscar Arfelt put it into his own slot. Colton Walter to his left. Cameron returns the pass to him. Walter with a full head of steam into the Huntsville slot, gets taken down. The puck skitters its way into the far corner. All over it now is Chimello, bit of an overskate. Cameron now met by Kaiser, far half wall. Walter flops it on goal, stopped by Milasek, who will gladly take a whistle, as it's been all Mayhem for the past few minutes. What an effort by the Mayhem to roar back and tie this game. Pretty electric atmosphere here on Mardi Gras night / family 4-pack night. It's our second to last family 4-pack of the season this evening, so lots of folks in attendance taking advantage of that deal we've got going with Texas Roadhouse. For those of you unfamiliar with the family 4-pack, it's a great deal. For just $50, you get 4 tickets and a $30 gift certificate at Texas Roadhouse that can be utilized at any point from now until the end of our season. For more details, you can visit the Mayhem website, MaconMayhem.com. Under the Tickets tab, you can click a link that'll take you to the Family 4-Pack to send in your application today. Our last Family 4-Pack date this season is on Friday, March 27th against the Pensacola Ice Flyers. The Mayhem have just tied this game. David Pulowski scoring yet another huge goal for the Mayhem. A big night for him. Tonight marks, as he's played as many games with the Macon Mayhem this season as he has in the Federal Prospects Hockey League with with tonight's game under his belt, and he's just had a knack for scoring big goals at opportune times this season. So the puck's at center ice, played by Denemy, floated into the right corner of the Huntsville zone. Pat Condon is there for the Havoc. He will put one up his own slot, sign Nukovic in open ice, very dangerous. He sends it to his left, Ryan Verbeek rather, put it in across the Macon blue line where it was quickly turned aside, and here comes Pirog the other way. Down the left wing, Stephen Pirog floats it to the front of the net, hoping for Denemy, intercepted by Pat Condon, who's had an excellent defensive game. 1:15 to go in period 3. Still it's a 2-2 game. Lynch takes the puck into the far corner. He's eventually pickpocketed. He was surrounded by white sweaters. Rob Durar punches it past Arfelt. Stepan Timofeyev did a nice job covering ground for his fellow European. Loose puck in the slot, takeaway. Piacentini leaves it. Durar trickles it back in front, taken away by the Mayhem. Lofted off the glass and out. 50 seconds to go. 2-2 your score. Nolan Kaiser deep in his own zone. Rolls it up the near boards, taken away by Pawlowski. Kaiser's back on it. He will feed it over to Scott Trask. Trask's pass was intended for Piacentini. Didn't work out. Following up, Sharkey puts it behind the net. It's Ben Campbell for Macon. Off the boards on the far side. Stepan Timofeyev put it across his own blue line. It's quickly flung back in. Off the backboards it bounces. 27 seconds. Larry Smith sends it over to Ben Campbell in the far corner of the Macon zone. He will put it up the right wing side for Dylan Denemy. It flutters into the Huntsville bench and was caught by Mike De Laverne. He's got himself a souvenir. I think he might turn and give that puck to a fan in section 122. The face-off will be in front of the Huntsville bench with 18.8 seconds separating us from overtime. The Havoc with a near immaculate record in overtime this season at 9-1. But we've got to get there first. 15 seconds. It's underneath the Havoc goal line rather. Nolan Kaiser flings it out in front of the Huntsville bench. This might be icing. No, it's being waved off. Stewart will leave it. Oscar Arfelt's got it. He sends it up his own slot. Big bad turnover. A second to go. Stewart the save, and the final shot is fought off by Stewart. Near catastrophe. And everybody on the ice for the Mayhem owes Hayden Stewart a steak. We're headed to overtime. 2-2 the score. The Mayhem showing hearts of lions in erasing a 2-goal deficit in what was ultimately a 48-minute effort to overcome, but they finally did it. David Pawlowski netting the equalizer. He's scored some very big goals for the Mayhem this season. He got Macon's first goal against Huntsville the last time these teams played 1 week ago today, and he also scored the equalizer in Pensacola, which led to Macon's first road point on the season just after New Year's, and then today, scoring with just 2.5 minutes left. Josh Keplinger, Stepan Timofeyev with assists on his goal, which ultimately forced overtime. And it would have been a shame to see all that hard work wasted in the last second. And the Havoc nearly taking advantage of a very poorly timed turnover in the Macon zone. So the Havoc in overtime this season, if you're a Mayhem fan, I apologize for reading these statistics to you. They are 9-1. The Mayhem in overtime, 1-4. In the shootout, things look a little bit more promising if you're a Mayhem fan. The Macon shootout record 1-1, Huntsville's 1-2. It makes sense that the Havoc are nearly undefeated in overtime this season with the way that they play. The open ice certainly favors them. But we'll see what happens here. Stephen Pirog, Colton Walter, and Zach Urban out there for Macon. Glenn DiTullio and company countering with Rob Durar, Kyle Sharkey, and Severio Posa. 6 very good decisions by both head coaches tonight. Stephen Pirog wins the face-off, and overtime is now underway. Zach Urban backpedals into his own zone. We'll play 5 minutes of 3-on-3 sudden death hockey. If there's not a goal scored in that time, we'll head to the shootout. Pirog down the right side. He's got Walter in tow. Pirog puts on the brakes, loses the puck in the near corner, and Severio Posa puts it behind his own net. And a rink-wide pass from Durar went off the stick of Walter to prevent a potential odd-man rush. Walter in his own zone now. He turns with it. He's joined by Cameron on this rush, but he's nearing the end of a shift. Colton Walter across the Huntsville blue line, takes it into the circle and fires. Fought off by Milasek. The rebound bounces behind the net, and Sai Nukovic has got it. 45 seconds have expired in OT. Sai Nukovic, extremely dangerous, creative playmaker, supremely skilled, has been in the league for a long time. And Pat Condon will feed him the pass, but it just eked over the blue line, so Nukovic will skate backwards towards his own blue line. He feeds it to John Shivo. Shivo across the blue line, carries it above the right circle, and didn't like anything he saw, so he just carries it back into neutral ice. Shivo, an IIHF inline roller hockey champion for Team USA. Loves playing in these situations, as you can imagine. Floats it to the right point for Nukovic. Kaiser, skate-to-stick reception, long shot, steered aside by Stewart with a stick. John Shivo, defended by Cousineau. Will leave it in the left circle. Nukovic dips the shoulder, goes wide and centers it, goes all the way through, back to the point. Shivo will just carry it back out of the offensive zone again. Another former Mayhem player on this Huntsville squad. Sets up Piacentini right circle. He fires, blocked by a Macon stick. Flutters into the near half wall. Piacentini centers, wide open slap shot, redirects off of Arfelt and wide, coming off of Verbeek's stick. Verbeek put it in front. Piacentini with a backhander, fought off by Stewart from point blank range. Piacentini sized up into the near corner. He's hit by Lynch. Verbeek put it back in behind the net. Piacentini's after it. The Mayhem with some tired skaters out there, folks, but they can't change. Piacentini cutting to the front. He's got it on his stick still. Verbeek, Piacentini, goal line, steps in above the circle. He wheels, he fires, blocked, turnaround shot by Kaiser, stopped by Stewart, who gets a much-needed whistle and a round of applause. Hayden Stewart has been perfect in net for the Mayhem since very early in this game, folks. He's played 47 minutes of 47 plus if you count the overtime of flawless goaltending. 2:37 to go in extra time. Steven Pirog wins the draw, but it comes right in front of Stewart's net. Sharkey had a shot get blocked by Campbell's stick, and Pirog will skate it down the left side. It gets hooked, or rather slashed, by Durar, who misfires wide of the right post with his shot. Durar will now skate it back out to neutral ice. 2:20 to go in the overtime segment. Comes Alec Brandrup down the left wing. He powers his way to the front of the net, loses it as he ran out of real estate. Ben Campbell spins with it, and he will feed it up to Pirog on his right. Steven Pirog down the right side, and it's the loud round of applause. Pirog, excellent move, keeps the puck on a string, carries it into the near corner. He is sized up and pinned to the wall now, can't really move. The puck is in between his skates somewhere. Denemy trying to help him out. Denemy poking and prying, along with Alec Brandrup from Huntsville. Puck rolls loose, and here come the Havoc. Could be a 2-on-1. Pirog hustles back. Durar down the left side. Durar shoots, stopped by Stewart, who's got it in his glove. Nice shoulder save by the Cornell product. Keeps this game going for at least a little while longer. 95 seconds to go in OT. Huntsville scoring 2 goals in period 1. The Mayhem slowly but assuredly coming back, one shift at a time in this game, erasing a 2-goal deficit, equalizing within the last 2.5 to force this very situation. Nukovic winning the offensive zone draw. And Beauvais driving to the front of the net, and Stewart's able to cover that one up as well. And Beauvais gets his fist right into the face of Sean Lynch. Stepan Beauvais cutting his way to the front of the net. Defenseman going all the way to the blue paint, driving and generating another scoring chance for Huntsville. They've done a lot of those, sort of taking the puck wide and driving to the net on this 3-on-3 so far. 1:28 to go. Nukovic winning the face-off, and the linesmen say that that was dropped errantly, so they're going to do this again. So it'll be Scott Trask this time, as Nukovic was kicked out of the face-off circle. And the Mayhem able to get the better of Scott Trask. Zach Urban up to Colton Walter. He's joined by Urban. Walter just skates it back into his own zone. Colton Walter from the blue line enters the Huntsville zone, has a blowout. Zach Urban trying to cover ground. Did a good job of preventing a 2-on-0. And Walter just put it behind his own goal line. Zach Urban will go back to get it. Walter, in the meantime, gets replaced by Sean Lynch on the Macon bench. Caleb Cameron receives it in front of the Macon bench. He will now backhand it back to Zach Urban. Urban drops it to Lynch. He'll begin to accelerate through neutral ice. Gains the zone onside. Leaves it back to the blue line. Zach Urban down the left side above the circle. Urban, nice silky mitts for a 6'3", 205-pound defenseman, but he eventually lost it behind the Huntsville cage. Now the Havoc could get a 2-on-1. It's Beauvais down the right side, rather Trask. He cuts into the deep slot, leaves it wide open. Shivo to the goal. Shivo to the backhand, scores. John Shivo ends the game. 21 seconds left in overtime before a shootout would have happened, but the Havoc remain nearly perfect in the overtime this season with their 10th OT victory, breaking the hearts of the folks in attendance here at the Macon Centreplex. 10-1. Now the Huntsville record in OT. The Mayhem dropping to an OT record of 1-5 and dropping to an overall record of 10-20-6. We saw John Shivo coming in uncontested down the slot on that breakaway. I think it was safe to assume that he was going to get, at the very least, really make Stewart work for that save. And Shivo extremely skilled and very poised. He made that forehand, backhand deke look easy and was able to seal the game for the Huntsville Havoc. So a disappointing way to finish this game in a night in which the Mayhem really just did not give up. They clawed their way back from down 2-0, forced overtime, got a point from this game, and will head onto the road with at least that safety of mind. But make no mistake about it, folks, I can guarantee you that the fact that the Mayhem are getting a point from this game is not going to make it any easier on that locker room, as they really were hoping for a better result and certainly showed the hearts they deserved to get that result. But ultimately, 3-2 the final score in favor of the Huntsville Havoc. The Mayhem actually passed them in shots on goal, 35-33, or I beg your pardon. They're updating the shots on goal now for whatever reason. 42-36 in favor of Huntsville in the shots on goal. They certainly did control the play in the 3-on-3 overtime segment. So if you look at it from that vantage point, they deserve the win. However, if you look at it from the vantage point of Macon's resilience and battling back and really taking control of the game late after falling behind very early, one could argue they deserve to win as well. So I think it's fair that both teams at least get a point from this one. Huntsville will improve to 22-11-3. They will head back home to Northern Alabama to get ready for their own game tomorrow. They've got a meeting with the Evansville Thunderbolts at 3 p.m. local time, Central Standard Time. Jeff Bess and company just won their game tonight. Or I beg your pardon, are winning their game tonight, 2-0 over the Peoria Rivermen in Evansville. And then they've got a pretty good long trip down to Huntsville immediately afterward. As for Macon, we're headed up to Roanoke. Brian Gardner will have the call tomorrow night, folks. I will not be making the trip. Brian Gardner will be on the call on Saturday against the Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs tomorrow at 7:05 p.m. Eastern Time. And then at 3 p.m. Eastern, the Mayhem will take on the Fayetteville Marksmen at the Crown Coliseum in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Puck drop for that game, again, scheduled for 3 p.m. The Mayhem next home games will not be, at least as are scheduled right now. There is one that is yet to be rescheduled. The postponed game from Thursday, January 30th against Pensacola. We'll let you folks know tuned in out there when that game is rescheduled on Mayhem social media and whatnot. But for now, February 21st and February 22nd will be Macon's next home games against Fayetteville and Birmingham, respectively. That will be Macon Mistakes Night and Pucks and Paws Night right here at the Macon Centreplex. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast tonight, everyone, if you're a Mayhem fan, in spite of the outcome. Again, the Mayhem falling to the Huntsville Havoc by a 3-2 final score in overtime, securing at least a point in this game before heading on a 5-game road stretch. Alex Von Koitel from the Macon Centreplex signing off for the last time until the end of February. Till then, so long, everyone. Thanks for listening in, and enjoy the rest of your Friday night.